Liver, chicken diner. Yes, it is live. We are going. Huzzah. Hello. Only a couple people out there have got this thing on. I'm getting an echo. Echo. Nope, I guess not.
What?
No echo.
Oh, you're echoless.
Yeah, I thought I heard it for a second, but
no.
No echoes. Nobody's commented yet. I guess everybody's just off
just now.
celebrating.
They're popping up.
Celebrating.
Miami, Charles, Starbase collab. Celebrating.
What are Miami?
What are we celebrating? We're celebrating
the only news that mattered this week.
Oh, you mean the new executive order that came out?
No.
Oh no, there's a really cool executive order that just came out right before I got here.
What is that?
It's actually now, per executive order, it's illegal for women to record on their phones like stressful events because they are, quote, really fucking annoying and have zero self-preservation skills.
Yeah. No, that wasn't what I was celebrating. I was going to celebrate that Brian Johnson met back up with his girlfriend.
What?
Brian Johnson met back up with his girlfriend.
Who's Brian Johnson?
You didn't read about Brian Johnson?
I don't know who Brian Johnson is.
He's the Exmo biohacker.
Oh, that's right. Oh, man. I only skimmed through that post, and I hate him. I absolutely hate him for writing that on the internet.
Yeah, I figured what would be the dumbest possible thing to start talking about, but
that's a good candidate.
Okay, so what is it? He just got back with his girlfriend.
You know who Brian Johnson is? He's the Exmo biohacker who does all the stuff to his blood. Like he changes his blood blue and he tests his erections at night and all this sorts of stuff. And let me see here. Actually, maybe it'd be better to show the boys cast talking about it.
You have to hook up a bunch of diodes to your cock or something like that. You put a sleep apnea machine on your dick.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh man,
that might feel nice.
Yeah, I thought I sent it over to you guys to read it. It was a Twitter post, and I can't find it right now. I should have had it pulled up, but I was way too busy before I started. But hold on, I will pull it up. He was out of town. And man, he was out of town and he was missing his girlfriend for a couple weeks. And so he wrote this Twitter post about having missed her and getting back with her. And it was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard in my life. Hold on. I'll have the boys cast guys talk about it here. But it's totally the dumbest possible thing to talk about. Here it is.
Like, and is she still with him? Like, or did she read that? And she's like, I'm busy tonight.
Well, we gotta have our stuff be Mormon centered, and what Mormon centered stuff is going on right now. But Brian Johnson getting back with his girlfriend and Tongan Crip gangs shooting each other up at churches that were kind of close to where I used to live.
Yeah, Nick Shirley was Mormon, but I think that was like more last week. So
you do now.
We're like three more. We're like 3 news cycles away from Nick Shirley.
Yeah, here you go.
Johnson's status. So Brian Johnson, the biohacker, he got a girlfriend, and he's been like simping over her.
Yeah, it's really dorky shit.
You ever see that old SNL sketch? I forget the guy's name. You'll probably remember. Might have been Hartman, but he goes, I went to the best schools. He's on a date, and he goes, I went to the best schools. I had the best education. I had the best clothes, but the one thing is I never learned how to eat. And then he's eating spaghetti, and it's just all over him. And it's just one flaw. Is
he just doesn't know how to eat.
Yeah, the whole sketch is just him, like he spaghetti's on his head and whatever, right?
Classic.
But I think that's Brian Johnson. He's got the best hair, the best skin.
The lowest age. Body
age.
age for his regular age.
The one thing he never learned how to do is get a woman.
He's been married, I thought. He has a kid.
Well, yeah. And how'd that work out for him?
Yeah, exactly. But this one is even dorkier. And it's like a chick. She's like 30 years younger than him or something.
Yeah, so he's like publicly drooling over this girl. And everyone's just like, ugh.
I think it's the mushrooms that did it to him.
He did say he took some mushrooms.
He took mushrooms a couple times. I'm wondering if the mushrooms kind of turned him.
It's been 19 days and 20 hours since I last felt Kate's warm embrace. If I seen you ever post some shit like this,
19 days, you wouldn't catch it. Maybe 19 years. I'd be like, all right, I guess
time for a post.
I guess it's been a minute.
Yeah, and
this is what Ward Radio should be using to warn people about becoming ex-Mormon right here.
that would be a thing. Been a minute.
Yeah, been a minute.
You could become this.
I would be like 19. If I didn't see my wife for 19 days, I'd just be like, it's a fucking vacation.
Fucking good 19 days.
Fucking keep her going.
Just sitting on the couch, just watching Heated Rivalry back to back to back. Just a little marathon for the kid.
Just fucking got the countdown timer for season 2. Let's go.
Just sitting on the couch. It's Danny time.
Oh, yeah.
It's been 19 days, 20 hours since I last felt Kate's warm embrace. She landed 47 minutes ago. 47. The 24-hour of travel, no doubt, has her rushing to shower. She needs to cleanse herself of the dirtied. Well, it sounds like a serial killer a little too.
A little bit.
She needs to cleanse herself of a dirtied world, incompatible with her sensibilities. The wash doubles as a ritual, preparatory for entrance into a symbolic world we've constructed. The time apart has been costly. My body's electrical signals betraying the separation. Without her touch, my vagus nerves, 100,000 myelated fibers have dropped the frequency, spectral power. Squat.
I wish I could have been there when he was writing it.
Here it is. We're not going to listen to the whole thing because they do a whole long segment on it if you want to listen to the Boys Cast. But yeah, the Ward Radio and those guys who love to advertise every dipshitted thing ex-Mormons do, they're missing out on this, man. They're missing out on pointing out how stupid ex-Mos can get.
It takes a real fag to make touching a woman sound gay.
My white blood cells have shifted their gene expression, up-regulating pro-inflammatory genes IL-6 and TNF-alpha, and down-regulating my antiviral genes, a pro-aging biochemical signature of a system suffering hardship. My environment is a pristine anti-aging laboratory. Air, water, food, and light are meticulously measured. Toxins are filtered. Purification systems run autonomously. Biomarkers track holy God, and look how long it goes.
I never say this about anyone. This sounds really mean, but wouldn't it be just really fucking funny, like if he died?
Yeah, the disease he got from a woman.
He just like died tomorrow
from just like a surgery where it was like this was gonna open the diameter of my nostrils by 1 percentile.
I don't want him to die, but if he did, I'd laugh. I guess I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that's mean.
No, I do. I think that he's maybe the one person on earth where it would be automatically funny. Like we're not allowed to laugh at it automatically, and we say give it a day in all other scenarios. The world has permission to laugh immediately when Brian Johnson died.
I know. I'm like I didn't like Rob Reiner was an irritating guy on Facebook or Blue Sky. He said Blue Sky was bigoted. That was hilarious, but I didn't laugh when he died. I was like sad. I was like, oh man, that really sucked. Getting killed by your own kid. That's terrible, you know? But this guy, I'd be like,
why are men so weird today? Your life work had the opposite effect as intended effect. I've never seen a person do more to make death look good. It's over. Seek mental help as soon as possible. Like, look at people leaving a comment at the milking farm. I think we just found our leading man for the movie version of Morning Glory Milking Farm.
It makes me think of that scene in Boondock Saints when Willem Dafoe has sex with a dude and the dude tries to cuddle. What are you doing? I want to cuddle, faggot.
Man, this new season of You is wild. You's about a serial killer. So this is kind of the tweet that gets read aloud in a courtroom months after they find someone in a freezer.
Imagine if it's your buddy and he's like showing it to you. He's like, man, look at this fire shit I'm writing right now. And you're just like trying to break it to him.
It does make me wonder because everybody should go read that long tweet or listen to the boys cover the whole thing. So I don't want to read all of it. But what colostrum do you guys drink?
Human.
What?
You don't drink colostrum?
Isn't that something that babies get?
You take colostrum. Have you not listened to any right-wing podcast at all in the past 3 weeks?
No.
They're all selling colostrum, and they talk about it like it's something that we all just normally do. Like not one of them stopped to say, this sounds kind of weird. I know, but you guys, how are you getting your colostrum in? Every single one of them.
Well, here's the weird part.
Isn't that a component of of mother's milk?
It is. Well, it is. Here's colostrum. I don't know how we would make enough of it from cows to mass produce, because I don't know how it works in cows, but in humans, the colostrum is like the very first milk that the baby gets. It's very colostrum dense or whatever. And
The royal jelly of milk.
yeah, and then after the baby gets a little bit, I don't know, maybe it lasts like a month or so, and then it's done. So are there just a bunch of baby calves that just don't get the colostrum because we're mass producing it for jugheads?
Yes.
Or maybe
Why are they
maybe
all
it's the
talking about
veal
it like-
cows. It's
Why
the
are they all
veal-
talking about it like it's my pre-workout that we're all taking, and we're all obviously taking because we're so worried about our health? I'm so tired of listening to dumpy people tell me about healthy stuff that's good for you.
Yeah, there's so much about the health world, especially with diet and stuff like that, where like it's the equivalent of people are like, well, the manual says that my car has a capacity of 4 liters of motor oil, so 10 must be even better. It's like, no, there's like a limit. Like that, that's the thing I learned about vitamins a long, long time ago. It's like, all these people taking all these like huge doses of vitamins, like your body goes like, yeah, we're set. We don't need any more.
Drinking
That's-
1 gallon of water a day is good for you, so 2 gallons.
Yeah,
Really.
but yeah, exactly. It's like, no, like you got all the colostrum you needed in the first 10 minutes of life or whatever it was. Like you're set. That's it.
No, you need it now. It's good for you.
Oh, Chris, red pill me on raw milk.
It helps with your sleep, and it helps with your that you want it to be good, or do you want it to be bad?
Red pill me on it. Because I didn't know what it was until very recently.
That it was milk that was not pasteurized?
I didn't know what pasteurization was until very recently, is what I'm saying.
Are you joking? You're joking, right?
No, I seriously, I didn't know what it was. I heard people.
Louis Pasteur, the raw milk is as ridiculous as anything. But I
know it was everybody at work is on like these colostrum kicks and stuff like that, and so they're looking for places to get raw milk. And that was my
fine, but it's maybe like a little bit dangerous because it still probably has some biotics in it. What do you call it?
Some bacteria.
Bacteria in
well, I didn't understand what it was because they kept saying it's unpasteurized, and we don't like that process. And I didn't really ever think of it because I was like, yeah, whatever. And then until my normie Democrat friend that I always talk about is like, I'm sick of these people talking about raw milk, and I was like, yeah. Is it not good? And he's like, you know what it is? You know what pasteurization is? Like, no, I don't. They just heat the fucking milk up. That's it. They just fucking heat it up. I was like, oh, the way they talked about it, I assume they added a bunch of fucking chemicals in it or something. They just heat it up. Like, yep.
Pasteurization invented by French scientist Louis Pasteur in 1864 when he discovered the heating wine and beer killed spoilage causing bacteria. A method soon applied to milk. So people think they're like all the good stuff for you. So it's kind of like a little bit like, what's the stuff everybody drinks for their stomachs, probiotics and all that. So they think it's good for like probiotics and all that sorts of deal, which most of that stuff.
I know it changes the like texture and flavor ever so subtly. Like, and I think for cheese making, like it there's a little bit of difference. I've yet to try it. Like I've only read about, but apparently brie made from raw milk, unpasteurized raw milk is supposed to be much better than the stuff we get. But like, people don't die from it. That's the advantage to pasteurizing milk is that
it keeps a whole lot longer, and there's nothing wrong with it if you don't get bacteria, that sort of stuff. And if people are going to mass sell it,
yes, listeria is the big issue. Like, and if you're immunocompromised, listeria can kill you. Otherwise, you just have a shitty diarrhea, stomach ache.
So Robert Barnes, you all know I catch him every single week, Viva Fry and Robert Barnes, to get legal ideas from a guy who's a real big time constitutionalist. But people don't know he's been the person who has represented the Amish in their Amish milk farmer stuff for years now. So he's kind of constantly updating how his lawsuit's going with the Amish there with that. And it is pretty ridiculous because all sorts of wild stuff happened with the Amish. Like the government came in and shut them down and took all their milk, just like the same thing that happened in Canada with all those ostriches that got murdered. Did you see that?
Oh,
What?
yeah.
Yeah, they murdered a bunch of ostriches. Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, there's ostriches in Canada?
Yeah, there's a whole ostrich, and not only that, they went and murdered it with a bunch of machine guns, and then just left the carcasses out all over this field and stuff, and made the people stand away as they sat there murdering them when they had already proved that there was no more bird flu in the ostriches. But they did the same thing. They came to this Amish farmer and they took his milk and all this sorts of stuff from, and he wasn't even selling it. He wasn't selling it on resale. They made this big old deal, and so it became this lawsuit. And that's what this whole thing is here. If you read the whole thing,
that ostrich thing has to be a big deal because, like, how many machine guns do you think there are in Canada? Because they probably had to bring like all 12 of them there.
Yeah, Viva Fry's covered that a whole lot, but both he and Robert are on the side of it, just at least be the freedoms of the people to farm those things without the government getting in the way of them. There's all sorts of weird stuff going on out there. There was just a bunch of stuff they're talking about of culling of these animal stock in France and all this sorts of stuff. There's weird stuff going on all over the place with these wackadoo countries and all that stuff. But Viva Fry ostriches. Let's see if it goes to it fast. See, here he is going after the Canadians. Have you killed all the ostriches? Are you looking for other animals to kill? Other families to devastate? Yeah, there's just all this stuff. There's the ostrich.
Oh, bonkers.
Look at just murdered a bunch of ostriches. And there was like, I listened to tape of it. There's videotape of the people having to stand by and just listen to all the ostriches slowly get murdered because they weren't very good shots. Just, oh, God damn it. Oh, a boot got him there. A boot got him there.
We need to practice more on these, eh?
Hey, Terrence. Terrence, you missed that ostriches. You got it in the nets. You know.
You found it on his balls, governor.
254 days asymptomatic. CFIA is present in the jurisdiction. Hard defense. Coal order is paused temporarily. That was before it happened. So 200, like almost 300 days asymptomatic, no bird flu. They said still just kill them all. They went over there and machine gunned them down slowly across.
Is there any compensation?
No.
It's just your business is fucked now. How difficult is it got to be to get that many ostriches that you can make a farm with? Holy shit!
Yeah. Squirrel 828 says they've researched a bunch of raw milk a ton. I mean, I'm as far as stuff goes, I'm always about macronutrients and stuff. Micronutrients, I think people can get all crazed into and out of it and all that sort of stuff. There's things that are helpful or not helpful. I think it's different for different bodies. But for me, just ultimately, we would all live off of, some amino acids, proteins, carbs, fats, and you'll be healthier if you take them in the right doses. That's about it. There's maybe some weird little diseases and weird little things out there that could help different bodies in different ways. And you need the vitamins if you don't have them, but not a ton of them. And everything else is maybe some stuff that keeps your bowels moving well here and there. So some fiber. That's it. It's like overthinking it is.
I remember learning about, because I remember being in, I don't know, junior high or something like that. And my science teacher said something like about how like corn is in even food. Like, when you eat a can of sweet corn or corn on the cob, like that's not even food, like, and I was like, well, how's that possible? Because I learned in another class today that corn was the staple of the Mesoamericans in pre-Columbian America. And then eventually I learned that's like, well, no, it's you nixtamalize corn, which is, the process that masa is made out of. So like tortillas and tamales and all that stuff is nixtamalized corn. That makes it super nutritious. And if you have nixtamal, a little bit of animal protein, and a little bit of leafy green, that is an entire diet. So like literally like a pork tamale with some cilantro or green salsa, like that's it. You've achieved a complete diet right there.
Yeah. So to me, in my brain, if you don't get a bacterial infection, raw milk and some sort of fat percentage equivalent of 2% milk or whatever, whole milk is equivalent in my brain. But other people think all these other things are good for you, or bacterias are good for your guts, or all this sorts of deal. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't come into play at all when you want to get buff and shredded, and I think in general, most diseases out there cancer and everything. People talk about, oh, your aspartame is going to give you cancer. The thing that's going to cause cancer more than anything is inflammation. And the things that can cause inflammation is stuff that you're allergic to, which could be all sorts of weird stuff out there that you're slightly sensitive to, or just excess carbs, excess eating makes you inflamed a bit. And that inflammation is dangerous. And if you eat in a way that's not overkilling it, you reduce the inflammation in your body, and everything will just get better. Like all your stuff will just get better. When people talk about the carnivore diet, it's largely just because they got rid of the inflammation, but they also would have gotten rid of inflammation with just less carbs.
I actually I found out a new health hack from my father-in-law. I think I might have talked about it on here before, but my father-in-law is really into this sort of woo kind of stuff. And his most recent suggestion to us was about Lucas, who is a little bit autistic, and he told us, he told us how to fix his autism. Can you guess?
Colostrum.
What's the thing? D-vaccine.
Yeah, unvaccinate him. Nicotine.
Smoke cigars.
You're like, what do you want to
self-medicating?
He's like, yeah, you just give him a little piece of nicotine gum, and he was on that kick forever. And finally, Morgan was like, Dad, you have to stop telling me to give my son nicotine. I am not going to
microdose. Try microdosing. Do some microdosing, dude.
I just imagine him in class puffing on a cigar. He's like, "Hey, it's medicinal, man. You can't take this from me."
Anyway, though,
basically, like, Lucas, did you just pop us in?
I think one of the reasons the colostrum things come up and it's coded right wing, so they advertise on all the shows, is there's been major lawsuits about if you can or can't sell raw milk and how far you can have it. And there's all sorts of government stuff. The government of Pennsylvania coming down, making him pay like $85,000 in fines. And this guy's just trying to use it with his intercommunity, you know what I mean? And so Robert Barnes has been there trying to help them and help get through it. Just let them use their raw milk and their stuff how they want to use it. And Pennsylvania has been trying to stop them from doing it.
Well, I think that honestly, so drinking black coffee, a moderate amount, has actually some pretty good health benefits. I think that the government should crack down on Mormonism, and like you actually can't do that anymore. You can't tell your congregation to not drink any coffee ever.
And a glass of red wine, that classical retarded.
Oh, that's good. Dude. I actually remember. People still bring that up when I'll talk about alcohol.
Bring it up. Mike Israetel made it a big old thing. You remember that guy with the fake PhD? He had the whole same thing came up in the science-based lifting community just this last year. But go ahead.
Well, it comes up at work every now and then. Anytime people talk about drinking, like, I'm very honest about, like, everybody else wants to pretend that there's a certain amount of drinking that's healthy, and I'm like, no, not healthy. There's no amount of drinking that is healthy for you. And they're like, well, there's some, like, if you just drink some, then it's not a big deal. It's like, well, it might not be a big deal, but it's not healthy. Okay. Like if you drink a couple glasses of whiskey once a month, that's not a big deal. It's not healthy. Like, yeah, but like if you drink a glass of wine every day, they say that's good for your heart. I was like, that's not true. Because I remember
if you were in a low calorie society, I believe beer would be healthy.
So what was
like everything to me, like when people say, is that good for you? I just do not, my autistic brain does not understand it. If it's a calorie, it can be useful in a situation. You know?
Well, and they tell me that, like, they're like, what, you drink every weekend? And I was like, yeah. And you're saying that's unhealthy? Like, yeah. Getting drunk is never healthy, but it's almost this weird defense that they have. But I can't remember what it was. What was the property about wine that they said they try to claim as healthy?
Oh, they've tried to pin it to all kinds of things.
I just remember Andrew Huberman.
There is some stuff with hormones, that cortisol, which is a stress thing. If you're overstressed, it can slow your metabolism a little bit. And if you have a little bit of something that can de-stress you, but like anything, you can't overkill it. You know what I mean?
Well, I remember Andrew Huberman was talking to somebody about it, and they're talking about the one of the things they say is healthy about wine, and he's like, yeah, wine has that in it, But in order to get enough of that, in order like to be helpful to you at all, you would have to be getting shit faced on wine every night. So it kind of counteracts any positive health effects.
Well, that's what they always said about the tryptophan in turkey, where it's like, well, you have to eat like 50 pounds of turkey before you get a measurable dose of the stuff.
Everything's a trade-off, though. Thomas Sowell, trade-off, no utopias. But if like a glass of wine kept you from gorging on Reese's peanut butter cups every night,
sure,
trade off the glass of wine wins. You know what I mean? But you know,
there's even some trade-offs for which Ozempic is
if somebody's extremely overweight.
Yeah, I'm always shitting on Ozempic and the all these weight loss surgeries and stuff like that. Like, you shouldn't just rip out part of your stomach. It's that whole Mary Harrington thing, is you're taking something that's doing its job and you're breaking it.
Yeah,
I really resonate with that quote. But there's some people that it's either that or die, and I'm like, I guess if you're gonna just fucking die, then rip out part of your stomach.
And then Brian Johnson takes that to the extreme. You can live longer with ripping out part of your stomach. Get me to the doctor.
Did he do that?
No, but that's how he's going to kill himself. He's going to give himself a surgery that he thinks is going to add life to him, or he's going to over-examine his body. My mom had a brain tumor recently, and she had it removed. And it turns out it was a really benign brain tumor that almost all old people get, and it's very, very rare that it starts pushing on the brain, right? Mm. And most people just die not knowing they have it. So it was pretty good. It was like the best brain tumor you could get. You know, she got it.
Brain tumor.
She got it out, and then they examined it, and they said none of the rest of them.
Cardinel's easy tumor.
Yeah, it was Cardinel's easy tumor. It was, but some of the other, she had a few more in there, and they checked them and like, nope, it's fine. Those aren't ever gonna become a thing. That guy's gonna find those at 46 and go have them all removed. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. You know, and he's going to jack himself up and kill himself that way.
That reminds me, I was going to mention something from a couple of weeks ago. It just made me think about reality and how weird it is. Is because at work, one day I had to transport a little piece of liver, a stat liver organ transportation. And so I went to one hospital and I waited for them to prep a liver that they had just taken a little piece of liver out of a healthy adult man. And I had to transport it to another hospital where they were going to put it in a little 7-month-old baby. And like, while I'm driving it over there, I'm like, man, humanity is amazing. Like, we can save a little baby's life, you know, by taking a piece of liver out of a guy. And like, wow, this is incredible. Like, we have come so far. And then when I got to the OR at the destination hospital to deliver the piece of liver, I had to stand there for 20 minutes while 3 nurses tried to figure out how to log it into the computer. I'm like, really?
You ever wonder about who are the psychopaths who discovered this shit? Like, that you could just like staple a piece of a liver onto a shitty liver and it would work. Like, I remember reading about this dude who
the Chinese making their chimeras.
Yeah, I guess this dude like lost a limb briefly or something, and they were trying to reattach it. They wanted to reattach it, but they needed to. I might be botching this story entirely, or it might just be a fake story. But it was like they needed his arm stump to heal first, but then the arm would die if they took that long. So they like sewed it to his leg and attached the blood vessels so blood would circulate through the arm. Like, what type of fucking maniac would you have to be?
What's like I learned about a long time ago. I remember learning about how one of the evil things Nazis did is they used the cadavers of Jews as crash test dummies, you know, for developing safety equipment for, like, you know, aircraft and tanks and cars and stuff like that.
I guess it's
cheaper, like, you know, like that's super duper evil, but like the data that they got was incredibly useful.
Yeah.
Because like crash test dummies, you know, they don't have bones, they don't have flesh. Like they're pretty limited in what you can actually learn from them. Whereas like an actual person, that gives you a lot better data, you know, and like, well, how much force does it take to break a leg bone? But talking about psychopaths and learning medicine.
Do the Jews have like inferior bones? Is it really?
Oh, that's right. They don't drink. They don't eat any dairy with their meat, so they probably have weak, brittle bone. That and they get hormone replacement theory.
They might have Mormons complain about their dietary restrictions, but Jews or Muslims definitely have the worst dietary restrictions.
If everybody wants to be Brian Johnson and just run a quick experiment on your own body for a year, do 6 months of taking all the supplements all these guys are suggesting, your colostrum, your AG1, your crackers. What are the crackers they're all selling now? Masa crackers.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
good for you. They're good for you. It's made of stuff that just goes whoa, and your body says yes. And all these types of different things and things that get rid of the radicals in your body. Then the next 6 months, take no supplements, maybe daily multiple if you're not getting enough different things, and eat 1,800 calories a day, 60% lean meat, 30% carbs, 10% fats. And at the end of that 6 months, you're going to be this guy from Gentleman Bronco. And you're going to go, wait a minute. I thought I needed all these things. I had to ingest things to feel better. I had to ingest them in. That's one of the things I always joke about. Like people talk about Western science and Eastern science. And I stop and go, the one good thing about the Eastern science, even though they have some woo around it, is they're telling you to not keep taking the things and take extra things to take the things. Whereas all the Western stuff is take stuff, take more, put more in, put more in, put more in. And the answer is put less in. Just do less. Don't put it in there. And just get the right amount and stay right at the right amount for a long time. And you'll turn around and you're like, oh, everybody will say, like, you look so young. You'll have an 18-year-old hit on you at 40. It happens. But,
you know, if you want to know, like, on an honest assessment on like the most accidentally honest ad reader out there is Matt Walsh, because like you can always tell what products are bullshit by, like, I don't know, he'll advertise this coat and he'll be like, this coat's really fun good. Like I got this coat and I take it out fishing and stuff and it's really warm. And I'm like, yeah, he actually means that. And then his next ad read, like his eyes go dead and his soul dies. And he's like, if you've never tried masa chips, they're just as good, if not better than regular chips.
And it's stuff that's good for you, made from beef tallow, not from butter, which is good for you. And it makes your belly say, I've had enough when you've had two. And your belly just goes, damn, that's masa chips, mother ever. I'm not eating the third one because two is good.
That's what's really going to get him fired from the Daily Wire.
Did you guys see this? I knew we talked about it the other week, but maybe we already did.
Jacob had the good sense to not do the soy face, so.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I guess John can't not do it. Huh. He doesn't even know what it is.
It's just stuck there.
Dan Bongino's coming back. Ooh, yeah. Let's go. I hate that. Let's go. That's one of my pet peeves is let's go. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's like to me, it's like millennial speak type stuff, but
he's gonna tell us everything about the Epstein files.
Oh, it's coming. He's gonna hold the FBI to account from his Rumble podcast, not from being the deputy director of the FBI, but from his Rumble podcast. He's leaving being deputy director of the FBI to go to his Rumble podcast to tell the FBI what's up. That is the dumbest thing in the world.
I know. I even saw Kerry Smith talking about how awesome it is that he's come back. I'm like, you know, I never listened to him before. I had heard his name.
I didn't either. But I think it's so ridiculous. He just went to that and did nothing. And now, watch out, he's coming back. Like, oh my gosh. All he did is go there and tell you guys Epstein killed himself. And then that was a year. That's that. Yeah.
I know. I keep thinking about, like, because I love those compilations that they have of Bongino and Kash Patel in their podcast talking about the Epstein files. And then, like, they cut back to them, like, no, he really killed himself. What would be hilarious? The funniest thing in the world is if he actually did kill himself. And, like, Kash Patel gets in there and he's super stoked. He's, all right, tell me what happened with Epstein. And they're like, he seriously killed himself. We're not, like, here's the video. Like, we don't know how to sell this to people. And he's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Fuck. That was have you guys been following Michael Tracy at all?
No.
He was just on with Michael Malice recently, but Michael Tracy's taking the uphill battle of Michael Tracy's like the number 2 over at Glenn Greenwald. He's who he always uses when he goes on vacation or whatever, and he pops on a whole lot. He's taken the uphill battle line of the entire Epstein files are overblown and nothing ever happened.
I mean, the more time goes by, I think that's kind of getting, I think, more and more likely.
If you listen to him on Michael Malice, I would say you can't listen to it and say he doesn't know what he's talking about a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And he does say that he thinks there was some slightly underage stuff. In fact, the only thing Epstein ever pled guilty to, did you want to know what it was? She was 1 day under 18.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's the only thing he ever pled guilty to. And
if you want to hear me say the word arbitrary like a postmodernist, I guess that's where I would do it.
well, supposedly when it happened, they were joking with each other. It's like, it's tomorrow. Oh, should we do it all tomorrow or some sort of thing like that? And then he did it. But then there's another thing where a bunch of the trafficking files and the things that got paid out for trafficking.
If we wait until tomorrow, you have to pay taxes on what I'm paying you.
There was a. Do you remember when we talked about John Larson telling people that they could go make a claim against the Mormon church and just get paid out $50,000 no matter what?
Yeah, like
stuff.
that.
John,
Like an
and John
ATM.
Larson admits that. Well, that ATM was there for the Epstein files thing, and you know how we've seen people throw around the term trafficking, like they're calling being a missionary trafficking and stuff.
Yeah.
That. So there was a bunch of people who realized they could get payouts by going and saying that they were trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein because they got a ride from one place to another.
Yeah, anybody who worked at his, worked for him for a week
Yeah.
could probably just go.
Yep.
Right.
No, like honestly,
I
the
won't go-
thing where the Democrats had it for 4 years and did nothing with it. Like, I'm kind of wondering, like, was there anything there?
They did nothing to Trump. I don't know, that like that Normie Dem guy was asking me what I thought about the ICE shooting, and I told him, and he's like, no, he definitely hit her, but really I think this is just a distraction from the Epstein files. And I was like, I just don't really think there are Epstein files. He's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I think if they're there, they'd been mostly scrubbed by now or something. And he's like, oh, you don't think Trump's trying to get him out of the Epstein file? And I used that line on him. I'm like, why didn't Biden say that? Like, do you know how massive of an October surprise that would have been? They got him on, filing taxes wrong or campaign contributions wrong. They got him in overestimating the value of an estate. They were looking for fucking anything. If he had been a pedophile island and boinked a bunch of kids, it's over.
Reese says you don't have that painting the Clinton in your mansion and not have crap going on. That's for sure. And the stuff that is true about the Epstein files and probably why we're not getting them. And if you look at anybody who does bigger deep dives on it, or Mike Benz, is that there's so much about international trade and international deals and under the table deals and all that stuff. And that's really what they're more afraid of getting out than anything. Megyn Kelly said it. She took some flack for it, but it might be true, is that there is some underage stuff, but they don't think there's anything anywhere near prepubescent stuff. And I don't know, go listen to Michael Tracy make the case of it. He makes a strong case for it. He doesn't say there's zero, but he says he makes a case that it's overblown. But I don't know. Go listen to the whole thing, because I've listened to Martyr Maid's entire podcast of the whole detailed history of what was probably going on and all the whacked out, crazy Balenciaga pictures and stuff with kids and all that stuff going on. But I don't know. Go listen to him. That's just that so far and I meant to kind of throw this thing sideways at the start, but we've gotten into nothing about what the actual topics are and stuff, and we could just get off on like Epstein. Suddenly we're defending the Epstein thing didn't happen. I didn't mean for that to be at all. I'm saying Michael Tracy's made that case, and I think it's worth listening to.
Epstein is one of those guys that if he were still alive, Candace Owens would be on a first name basis with him. I've spoken to Jeffrey a few times, and
it's all fake. Yeah, it's just like she's she threw into question the whole Harvey Weinstein thing, and I think the Harvey Weinstein does have a lot to question about how bad it was for sure quid pro quo, but all those different women were totally mostly aware of what was going on there.
I feel zero sympathy for somebody who sucked a dick to get a role.
I've said since a million years ago, the real victims of that are the non-victims, the ones who said no and got no role, and they just disappeared into getting nowhere in Hollywood. And
Yeah, okay, Gwyneth Paltrow, go back in time and don't suck his dick. All right, you gonna do that?
Somebody needs to make a version of Sliding Doors where it's whether or not Gwyneth Paltrow sucked his dick. She just ends up working in a Starbucks for her entire life.
You want to hear something retarded? So there was this in Idaho Falls, like last month. There was this guy that got shot in his apartment. There's a domestic dispute. The cops came over there because they were called. And according to them, the guy lunged at him with a knife, so they shot him, right? And of course, everybody was mad, like acting like it was totally unjustified without knowing anything except for what they said. Well, today they released the body cam footage, and yeah, he grabbed a knife and lunged at him.
No way.
First fucking comment I see. Can you guess what it is?
They should have gone for the legs.
It's coming right for us. I don't know.
Tasers need to be used in most knife situations.
Oh, I actually could have guessed that.
Especially one where the victim is so far away. You know how far away he was?
Why didn't he shoot in the leg? Why didn't he shoot him in the ear?
Oh, I got that the other. Oh, with this ice shooting, this lady's sitting in the comment section going, how come he didn't? Why do you have to shoot him in the face? You know, like, or shoot her in the face. Why couldn't he have shot the tire or tried to shoot her leg? I was like, oh, first of all, dipshit, she's in a car.
Yeah,
he's gonna blind fire through the door and hope he hits her leg.
It happens in a matter of seconds.
I know, and then it's funny because one of my friends responded to her like, "Yeah, I bet you'd say he should have used a taser," and she's like, "Exactly, a taser? That's even more retarded than normal. She's in a car. Do you know how a taser works? That wouldn't even work in the movies."
There's a really terrifying video out there that's surveillance video from a junkyard. I think it's in New Mexico from a few years ago. And I mean, it is one of the most disturbing police activity videos out there. And a homeless guy was loitering, hanging out, living in a junkyard. Junkyard owner called the cops, said, "Hey, there's some guy out here. Will you check it out?" And the cop just walks up, like, totally casual. He's like, "Hey, man, what's up, buddy?" And the homeless guy says something, and then he whips his arm out, and he slashes the guy's neck, and you watch the cop bleed to death within a few seconds.
I saw that one.
Oh, yeah. I saw that
You
one.
know?
That was...
And then everybody's like, like, why do they shoot people with knives? Like, well, that's why. That's why. Like, I kind of feel like every fucking liberal who ever said that has to watch that video so they understand why. And then, like, you today showed that video of, like, the cop that got killed getting run over by a car in very similar circumstances to what happened yesterday. Like, she's standing in the same position. And, like, you say, well, he was just trying to get away. He wasn't trying to run over. Doesn't matter. Like, that doesn't matter. What matters is if you have a reasonable expectation of bodily harm from somebody driving at you while resisting arrest after committing a crime, But I don't know.
Speaking of,
I'm really
John
losing
Mulaney
hope.
just canceled. John Mulaney just postponed his shows in Minneapolis with this message.
No.
To everyone in Minneapolis, my shows at the Armory this weekend will be postponed. What's happening in your city is heartbreaking. I'm not doing that anymore. I hate to postpone shows in a town going through such awful challenges and such grief because it feels unfair to the audience. Still, I don't feel comfortable asking thousands of people each night to leave their homes, gather at the venue, and then make their way to home when the situation is so unsafe. Who's making it unsafe, buddy?
That's
They canceled school. They canceled school for the 2
I
days.
know.
Like,
I mean,
when you
I
talk
might have
about
too.
blood on your hands. Like, every single person who upheld this conspiracy theory that ICE is violating rights, that they're the Gestapo, that it's all part of Trump's secret plan to establish a white ethno-state. Like, every single one of these people, you've got a little blood on your hands, a little more, and a little more each day, because, like, It's not true. It's a conspiracy theory. You think like Nazis. And everybody that encourages citizens to actively impede law enforcement, you have some blood on your hands.
This is what Flip was talking about.
So
This lady here, young gal cop. Look, just to the right of the driver's side door. She takes shots, dead.
Ooh, God.
Yeah. And this guy, this same guy, was dragged like 300 feet just to. I'm trying to find it here.
You know, the other thing's like with all this going on, like all of the like serious bad dude illegal immigrants in Minneapolis are just like fucking awesome.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
They see it. So I guess that's him getting dragged by this car right there. 300 feet right there. Which people could say, like, well, he shot at the side of the car. He's at the side of this car right here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front agent.
Yeah. But Risto said earlier, hello from the People's Republic of Minnesota. What's life like in the US of A? It's so weird that Minnesota is the place.
Did Tim Walz basically just declare war? Because like he asked for the
Well, we got to say he resigned because that happened in between. He resigned and then declared war on the federal government.
He resigned. I thought he just said he wasn't gonna.
I said he wasn't gonna.
Yeah. No, but Risto, like, just, I mean, I posted it in the message group, but just last week there was an article in Salt Lake Tribune where the new queer Latina city council member of Salt Lake City was celebrating that for the first time ever, the Salt Lake City government is majority female, majority POC, and majority queer. Like, there's one white guy, he's gay. Like, yeah, no, it's the same here. Like, it's ridiculous.
Here was that about the flags right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just not focusing on Utah very hard.
I remember when they keep adding stripes to the pride flag. I remember pointing out to a friend, like it must have been like 10 years ago. Like, he's like, why does the pride flag bother you? You don't like gay people? I'm like, I'm fine with gay people. I'm pro gay marriage, all that stuff. And it's just notice the stripes they're adding to the flag. They just added the black and brown one. Okay. You just got to notice as they add more, because they will. This was a prophecy that anybody could have made. As they do, you'll notice more. Just notice what they're not including. Notice the only things they're not including. Then they added the trans shit. Then they added the intersex shit. And then they keep just throwing more shit on there. And then right there, she's talking about like how they adopted the Pride, Palestinian, and Juneteenth flags. I was like, okay, we're getting closer to having every single person except for one group in there. And you're like, how did Fuentes get so popular?
Do you think the guy running for the first district, our Somali candidate, is going to get in?
I think he probably should not have centered child daycare centers. It just doesn't seem very politically strategic right now.
Let me see if I can find what's his name. Here it is, Liban Mohammed. I am Liban Mohammed, and I'm running for Congress, Utah, District 1, which I guess was one of the redistricted districts, which was part of, if you go and listen to Charlie Kirk talk with Mike Lee the week before he came here, when Candace said there's no advertisement for it, the week before he came here, what they were talking about was this exact redistricting that they were doing and pulling off inside of the government. And now this guy's running
the nation in charitable giving. Yeah, our leaders take us for granted. For far too many Utahns, the American dream is slipping away. Corporations are pricing us out of our own homes. Raising a family is more expensive than...
It's Mom Donnie. The warmth of collectivism is coming our way, folks.
He's coasting on the Mormons, too. He's like, we lead the nation in charitable donations. Like, okay, who's doing it?
It's the Democratic city government that does all of the things that makes housing cost more and none of the things that make it cost less. That's what's making it hard to live in Salt Lake City, you lying hack.
There it is. The root opinion. Renee Nicole Good is not the first person an ICE agent has killed, but it's the first that garnered collective outrage for one reason. And Michael Malice had already put out a troll the night before, which always cracked me up because people comment on him not knowing. He's like, this ICE agent would have never fired on that driver in Minnesota if she had been white, and everybody knows it. And then he says,
oh, sorry, go on.
Just the next one. I didn't believe Islam was taking over Minnesota until I saw the officers shoot that woman simply for driving a car.
I commented on that root thing. I was like, you're right. Now that she's white, we're gonna riot, and I can't think of a single example of us rioting when there was a non-white person shot by the cops. And some people, it was actually only the lefties that commented on that understood I was being sarcastic, because it's like somewhere inside them they know how fucking hypocritical they were. Other the less left-leaning people were like, did you not hear about George Floyd or Michael Brown or Trayvon Martin or Rodney King or
this is what Risto was just mentioning here. We're at war.
And it's clear. Look, I don't know. I don't think any governor in history has had to fight a war against the federal government every single day.
Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government.
And it's clear. Look, I don't know.
Did he say it, or is it just like that? I know he said other stuff kind of closer to
well,
it.
he's called for the National Guard to come out and kick out ICE. Like what?
Yeah, no, that's a call. That's insurrection. Governor Walz is calling for insurrection right now. That's because that's I was wondering, like the January 6th people, like I don't know why they didn't. I mean, like, okay, it on the surface, it looks like they were a bunch of political activists motivated by a false conspiracy theory, who were impeding the government from lawfully executing their duties, and they were fighting with and impeding police, and they were trespassing, they were breaking all kinds of laws. But it turns out they were just election fraud observers. They were just observers, everybody. Yeah. Like, they just forgot to mention, oh no, we're observers. We're not insurrectionists. So it's just like this lady, like, because, you know, everybody's saying like, oh, she was an observer. Like, oh,
yeah. I'm a First Amendment observer.
I'm just observing
of the podium of Nancy Pelosi's office. I'm a First Amendment observer of Nancy Pelosi's computer.
They're just observing election fraud. That's okay.
Charles says, turns out Walz is a Confederate.
No, I mean, that is again, like the ironclad law of local projection, all this stuff about how like the right is trying to overthrow the government. Like, well, there's Tim Walz literally calling for it. Like, how else can you interpret that?
Well, there's a bunch of stuff that this lady who runs an NGO went out in front of the courthouse, and they all like formed a barrier in front of the place so that they couldn't leave it, and they started kicking on the windows and stuff like that. But that's not an insurrection. But
no, that's not insurrection.
I saw Dave Green, the distributors, kind of point out, and this is kind of true, and it's just kind of obvious you don't see it. They're having a ton of extra troops deployed to Minnesota for the massive amounts of fraud that finally got attention to it, thanks to Nick Shirley, the Mormon kid who made that all happen. They've all been trying to come after him for that. And of course they wanted or were pushing for or looking for something like this to cause riots. It is the NGO thing to do. It's the NGO thing to do, to try to distract from this, create a summer of love from it, because you've got the swarm of the people coming to check on you coming in. It is the move, but it is kind of those things of like, how do they make it happen? Like, you know, in a Maoist way, you gotta be lucky to get a perfect little fringe case in there. But if you send a bunch of, there's all sorts of videos of Frey and some other lady in Minnesota and other people saying, you guys got to go. A lady said, you got to go sacrifice your bodies. Get out there, get out. You know, saying this to people. She for sure said it to them just a couple weeks ago.
This lady just took the CRT rhetoric seriously, that you are supposed to like put your white body, because your white body is not as in danger as black and brown bodies are. So put it in between black and brown people and law enforcement. And she did it.
I'll take this moment to repeat that my white cousin was deported by ICE during the Obama administration. Just for context.
Yeah, I mean, these fringe cases always make for better too than the obvious ones. Like if there really was some ICE agent who marched
Yeah.
out there in the day and just, I hate
Well-
ladies, and shot him in the head.
And that's the other thing. Like, I've been seeing this thing. Like, everybody on the left is posting a frozen screen grab from right after the car makes contact with the guy, and they're like, "This proves it." It's like,
See how
oh my
far
God.
away he is from the car. He's beside it. Like, yeah, he was smacked away from the. Well, that Normie Dem guy was talking to me today, and he was like, "What'd you think about that?" And I was like, "Well, I saw that first video, and I couldn't quite tell what was going on, so it looked more damning for the ICE guy. And then I saw the second one, and she hit him. She didn't hit him. What, did you not see the video? She hit him. No. Well, I don't know how to talk to you.
Tim Pool is just covering how the New York Times covered that, and it is such sneaky wording. He was losing
It's like
his mind about
she
it. but
drives by.
It
thing,
says
like-
it says it looks from this angle that she hit him, but you can see from the other angle he was not run over. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Wait a minute, you swapped it. You swapped it in the middle there.
Hit and run
Well,
over.
also, like,
Yeah.
and again, like there's it's this hatchling thing that all the left is doing, where they pretend like we have no precedent for this, that we've never heard what the laws are, and it's like she doesn't even have to actually hit him with the car. Now it's clear on the video that she does, but all he needs is reasonable expectation of bodily harm, and we have ages and ages and gajillions of cases where, yes, driving, like, first off, you've been lawfully detained, you've been ordered to stop, and you are using your car to try to flee. And if you're driving at a law enforcement officer, we have 10,000 examples or whatever of, like, that's reasonable expectation of danger. They are allowed to defend themselves.
And
Like,
they
you didn't even have to hit her.
have no
Hit her.
reason to be out there in the faces. But look at this.
Are being disappeared. P.S. Without
See
due
there, like
process,
that,
it is
that right there disappeared. Like, this lady has blood on her hands. No one is being disappeared.
She's
Like,
the
this
leading
thing really
Democratic
pisses me
senator.
off. It's like the Desaparecidos in Argentina. Like,
Yeah, I
they
remember that.
are absolutely taking that case, like trying to make this analogous.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's why they call it disappeared. Yeah, it's
and like,
there's a Maná song, Desaparecidos.
like
Yeah.
to this day, there are mothers, like, they're getting older and they're dying off, and they go to the same courthouse steps every day, basically waiting for an answer. Where did my son go? Because like they were literally disappeared, as
They
in they
were
were grabbed up
murdered.
by, yeah, and they are gone. Whereas like, no, they're not disappeared. They were put on a plane back to their home country, and you can call them on their cell phone right now. That's not disappeared.
P.S. Without due process, it is just called kidnapping.
It is due
The-
process. There's another lie. This is a dangerous lie when you tell these kinds of lies. That is due process.
It is
The
process
American government
due.
is allowed to deport illegal immigrants. If you are here illegally, you are subject to deportation, period.
That was one of the lefties I work with. My dad started talking about the Kilmar Brigorsio thing a couple months ago. And he's like, the guy next to me, he's like, oh, I don't know. You just got to have due process. And I was like, can you explain to me what the due process for somebody who's not here legally is?
Blue screen of death. I already predicted you got the blue screen of death on that guy's face.
Well, he kind of for a minute, and then I was like, seriously, what do we do? Because the due process to me seems like we find out that you're not here legally, so we remove you.
You have your chance to present your cards. Your process is you can present your valid documents. Oh, you don't have them? Then you are not valid to be here. That's the process. That's the process too. Like there doesn't need to be a full entire supersonic hearing for that.
No,
Either have them or not. There
Like,
might be some people who could say, hey, there's something in transit, there's something this or that or the other, and maybe like a few fringe cases should get like a full hearing to see if something really was finalized or not finalized. But the rest of them is, do you have those papers or no?
There's another reminder that during the Obama administration, more than 3 million people were detained and deported. More than 75% of those people never got to plead their case or even see a judge. They were summarily deported. It wasn't illegal then. It wasn't a violation of due process or anybody's rights then.
And Trump's never going to catch up to it.
Trump's never going to catch up to that.
And if they make a big deal out of this and somehow back off because of this, it's just never going to get.
I am not joking. My cousin was deported during the Obama administration. He's as white as I am, but he was deported because he came to America. He overstayed a visa.
Your cousin was disappeared.
And yeah, he was disappeared, and he's living happily in Canada. They disappeared him. They disappeared him to fucking Alberta.
Oh,
that is pretty.
that's
cruel. I would rather go to the El Salvadorian prison.
And when he flew back to America, and when he popped up with his passport, it was flagged. He was a previous overstayer, and even though Senor Obama, he's such a good man. Like I was always like want to make this conversation with the people when they're like just this whole thing was like how did Obama deport all those people? Like because they just ICE called up the illegal immigrant. And they're like, okay, lady, it's time to go. No, I don't want to go. Well, Mr. Obama wants you to go. Oh, Senor Obama, he's so good. He's a good man. I go home. Like, yeah, that's how that went. No, ICE, like that's you can look it up. There's stories.
Look, I'm President Obama. Fat lady standing in front of this person. You must get out of the way, or I will shoot you. And I'm tired of fat Minnesotan women standing in the way, and I'm going to just march right around you and deport this woman, okay? Like, no, none of that happened back then.
Like, I Googled it myself. You can find articles with, like, even New York Times and CNN saying, like, well, some people don't like that Obama's ICE are going into places of work and apartment buildings and rounding up illegal immigrants. Like, yeah, no, of course some people don't like them. No, people have never liked them, but he was a Democrat, so nobody cared.
It's so funny because like a lot of them I've seen when they get confronted with that say like, and now we would be better about that, which is kind of like in line with the people who all say, like, you know how like one of those main newscaster guys said, I was derelict in reporting on the health of President Biden. I promise to never do that again. So now I am going to be up Donald Trump's health ass because I will not fail the American people in that same way again. Like, oh, now you're going to be good about it, huh? Just like with the cages with the kids, which ended up being our major fight with Mormon housewives, feminist Mormon housewives. Because Flip and I were just there saying, dummies, like the kids in cages were all from the Obama era. No, you die now. Like, no, but it's just true. We're just saying what's just true. You die.
Obama didn't separate kids from their families. He just trusted implicitly the people who said, these are my children. And he's like, okay, I guess you stay in a cell with them since you told me that.
Show up and use your voice. Put your body on the line. Our neighbors are being disappeared. P.S. Without due process, it is just called kidnapping. Then show up and use your voice. Put your body on the line. Our neighbors.
So, I mean, that's what they're getting. This is Reese still sent me the better clip, I think.
Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government. I think in this case that the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission. Well, I said this yesterday. We've never.
Is he dodging or is he saying it?
I mean, like it's not explicit, but
he's saying now we are.
It's pretty clear that he's calling for an insurrection and he's invoking a military agency like the National Guard.
Yeah, that's the thing. Calling for the National Guard. That's a pretty explicit. Like, I'm gonna send state enforcement against federal enforcement. Like what else is that?
I mean, if Donald Trump saying go down, march and demonstrate peacefully is calling for a violent insurrection, what the fuck was that Tim Walz just said?
Yeah.
Like, come on. No, and also that's the other thing is like, because the other part is like this guy's life is ruined.
Well, they don't really have him yet. They're trying to dox him. They will dox him harder. Like when it came out.
His best chance is that he will live in hiding for the rest of his life, like the guy who shot Michael Brown.
But what's even worse is like they're putting out these fake AI generated images of his face. That's probably going to get like all sorts of nutty people are probably going to start chasing around dudes who aren't even the right guy. But
And this is the hilarious part is they kept asking like, why do ICE agents have to be masked? And everybody was like, well, because you'll do this thing that you just did.
Yeah, I've got some of your guys' comments.
You are your own answer.
But the you think this guy can get tried? Like I was reading some of like the laws and stuff. Minnesota can try him, but there is some sort of like immunity from the executive level. It's got to be pretty blatant, and anything that's going to be fringe is going to be something they can't even really prosecute from what it looks like.
If he's operating as a Fed, like he gets the qualified immunity thing, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks really hard, but I mean, Minnesota, they might still just try to do it and put him through it, and you know how like the process is the punishment. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll have to sit and watch and go through all of that sort of deal. But they're trying to make the summer of Floyd with it. All the NGOs would certainly like it to be. They're all out there with the yellow page signs just right on the first day, and a bunch of people going around that Nick Shirley guy's kind of exposing the people who helped pay for all the paid protesters. And some people were saying this gal was even a paid protester. They're there from a different state, showing up to wherever the ICE people are just to like drive out in the roadblock and filming it like they're. Like they had no reason to be there except for agitprop. They were there as agitprop people. They were trying to get something like this or close to it, just maybe hopefully not dying in the process of it.
I mean, this whole thing is exactly what James Lindsay always talks about, where the reaction is the action. Like they got exactly what they were going for. They got their image. They got everybody riled up, and it just heightens the temperature even more. You know, like, and they can't lose from this, because if they get their violent revolution, they win.
Yeah, I mean, I think this case right here, if you guys didn't look at it earlier, really shows it. If you see this one, like they want to get this picture. They're going for this picture all the time.
Yeah,
that this is what agitprop is. Look at his face. Another horrifying image out of Minneapolis. Look at the terror on his face as a federal agent points a gun in his face and threatens his life. Enough is enough. Our government is committing war crimes, fraud and murder. It stinks spray. Number one is the gun he has here. But then you watch the video of it, and this guy is, first off, these guys are marching this way, and he's going and getting in their way, which there's a ton of video of them going and trying to stand in the way of the people. But he's going up and pushing. So there's the moment where he's supposedly scared, and he's pushing and grabbing he's grabbing the guy's gun right there. Yep. In other cases, in other scenarios, what the Michael Brown scenario, grabbing for the cop's gun was justification to kill Michael Brown. You know, and it is. That's how he got exonerated, even by the DA who tried to get him down, even came to the same conclusion that Michael Brown was justifiably shot because he was grabbing for the officer's gun. And
he's not an officer, he's a Nazi, so it's okay to take a Nazi's gun.
Well, he was just all he was gonna do is grab the gun and like really quickly Jason Bourne style disassemble it, and then
dance, put a flower in it and make a flower pot. But this is the picture.
Imagine
that is just 100% what all the agitprop is. They're going and standing in the way and being like, whoa, it's me. Oh my goodness gracious.
That was like the one frame in that entire exchange where his hands were more than 2 inches away from the gun.
I don't know. I'm just really afraid because you know, when you've got NPR, CNN, you know, all the usual left-wing media suspects, they're all just pushing this propaganda as hard as anybody. Like, they could be doing their jobs and pointing out, like, okay, actually, it's illegal to impede law enforcement. Actually, there's gajillions of amounts of legal precedent and case law that if you are resisting arrest and you drive your vehicle at an officer, that's a reasonable threat of bodily harm. They're justified to shoot. You know, also, like, ICE is not violating anybody's rights, you know, and because that's the thing, is like, because, you know, the NPR is working on these dipshits because, like, you know, you read their articles, they'll be like, some legal experts say that rights are being violated, and they're very careful to not come out and say like they're violating rights, but like people just read that and they go like, oh, NPR is reporting that rights are being violated, but you know, there's no follow-up from NPR. It's like, oh, by the way, we investigated and no, nobody's rights are being violated. Like, all they report is some legal experts say and they just leave it at that. It's enormously irresponsible, and NPR has blood on their hands because of it. they're helping out.
Charles says white women can't wait to tell their black friends, my people are being gunned down by cops too. Actually, they wouldn't say my people, since they might include men too, or being gunned down too should work. Yeah. I'm going into crazy detail about it, but I finally watched one battle after another. And I mentioned, guys, I actually think, I know it wasn't the full intention of Paul Thomas Anderson, but if you watch it and you're sober in any way, because anybody could watch it and say, this looks cool and rad. But if you soberly watch that in any way, it is completely making fun of what losers all of these agitprop warriors are. There's no other reading or viewing of that movie. Like, it really does show that this is ridiculous and dorky and stupid and falls apart and gives in to corporate and interest and money and all that sorts of stuff. I mean, it is kind of weird. I mean, I try to think of like what redeeming quality he tries to give it all to any of it, and I think he does put a redeeming thing on the Latin guy who's just trying to take care of community and family and all that stuff and do it without violence. I think he's trying to paint that guy in the light side. These warriors and whatever ridiculous people, the French 75 or whatever, he's just making them look like dipshits. Like they look like absolute retards.
I figured that might be the case when I saw a bunch of lefties online talking about how shit that movie was.
Yeah, they all hated it, and that actually surprised me when I watched it. And Leonardo DiCaprio uses the word retard, and that came up this week because Ricky Gervais put out his episode, and half of his things about using the word retard too. And there was this whole thing. I've got a clip of it. Do you know who Nick Sorter is? He actually got chased out of Minneapolis. He's a reporter. But the day Tim Walz left the office, he was standing outside of Tim Walz's house saying, we're waiting for the smoke at the roof to see who the next retard is. And that went pretty vile. I've got it somewhere, but
that's good.
Yeah, that word's all over the news. But I mean, you can't, you got this place like we talked about a few weeks ago that Tim Walz wants to make a deal out of people using that word. Meanwhile, these guys are scamming autistic families or autistic money. But you know, it's like it's just not working anymore. And that Jacob Fry guy got up and said, "ICE, get the F out of our city." And later they came down on him saying, "No, why'd you say the F word?" And he's like, "I think murder is worse than the F word."
Do you?
Like, you guys are so bad. Do you think scamming autism is worse than saying the word retard? Do you think that, Jacob Fry? That guy is such a weirdo. He's so weird. Anyway, if you want to read this, you guys pointed this up. I'll see if I can find some of those other things. But I've got the comments that you made on it.
Spotted in Rochester. Piggybacking from a few posts. If you feel unsafe to go out and get groceries for any type of errands, please reach out and I will do my very best to help out. I live 15 minutes away from Rochester, but I'm 100% here to help anybody and everybody that doesn't feel safe.
Somebody just needs to add the Uber Eats logo on to the internet.
Yeah, and there's your guy. I posted your guys' commentary on it.
Yeah,
you guys cracked me up on that one. Fun.
If I were there, I would unironically have her do all my shopping. Pay a Mexican to meet her at the door. Just do brown face and speak Portuguese. I'll just have Morgan answer, or I could fumble my way through a Ukrainian accent. Say you are Israeli and scared to go outside because of Palestine protesters. Record the interaction. Fuck off, Zionist colonizer.
Miss Gabrielle.
Then Risto, that's the best one. Thank you. I am an ICE agent and afraid to go out.
That one cracked me up. I wish somebody would actually do that. Like
you get killed.
Could.
Like you get doxxed right away.
I'm so afraid to go to work. Can you please go to my work and work for my shift, please? I'm afraid. Because I work at the Target. My shift start at 6.
And you have her pick up your groceries and tell her that you don't have money.
Yes. I have little brown children's.
As a Somalian, I'm food insecure and low income. And as a white privileged person, you think maybe you could, I don't know, foot the bill?
Here's this. This guy got ran out of in Minneapolis too. Supposedly, was getting chased.
From outside the Minnesota governor's mansion, it's about 4 o'clock in the morning. Trump rally music blasting in the background as all eyes are on the chimney of the Minnesota governor's mansion, waiting for the smoke to rise, which means that a new retard has been Tim Walz expected to drop out of the gubernatorial race after the expose of, him being in bed with all the Somalis out here. I don't know.
There was a hearing. There was a hearing about it today, and there was a lady who was a special witness to it, saying that he knew about it all along from the start of his whole entire governorship. So
I gotta go soon because I'm lame and gotta get up.
No, you got to talk about Venezuela, man.
Well, so that's the only thing I was gonna say is like very quickly is that okay, the Maduro thing, like okay, a little bit unprecedented, not entirely, but sort of new, but I don't have a real problem with Trump going in with the military and snatching Maduro and trying to return Venezuela to a prosperous, freedom-loving country where the oil wealth is shared with everyone. This Greenland shit, though, what the fuck? It's just one of those things that annoys me because I'm not a big Trump fan. But if he does good things, I will say good things. But why is he feeding them like that? It just makes okay, now it's even harder for me to say anything nice about Trump when he's saying well, we're considering using the military to take Greenland. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? It'd be one thing. He's look, I think we can make a deal with Greenland that's beneficial to both of us. The thing is, when he says we need it for military security, it's well, we already have bases there. We've had bases there all through the Cold War. We still do. We've already got all kinds of weird agreements, not weird agreements, but military agreements and stuff like that. But why can't he just say hey, I think we can cut a deal with Greenland and get some access to the mineral wealth that's up there and blah blah blah. But this stuff was oh, we're considering military action to take Greenland. What the fuck?
I didn't even see him say that.
Oh no, he was very all options are on the table, including military. But yeah, no, it came out. It's and it's just what the hell? That is so retarded. And I don't know how, because taking out Maduro, totally defensible. We're gonna take Greenland. I don't know how you make that. Fucking Denmark. Really? You're gonna go after Denmark?
We could take him.
Well, yeah, easily.
No, it's the funniest part about this is watching Matt Walsh go from isolationist basically to hell yeah, we should put boots on the ground in every country in South America.
Yeah, some people kind of said it's so weird to see 20 years later everybody kind of second guessing finally all the Iraq war stuff and Afghanistan, and then just a reset buttons hit take Maduro, reset all the neocons
It's funny because they keep talking about the Monroe Doctrine, and Matt Walsh is it's our hemisphere and we should keep it safe. And I was the Middle East is also in the northern hemisphere. So
yeah,
it
that's
depends on which hemi of the sphere you're talking about.
Yeah, which slice we're talking about. No, that's one of the Matt Walsh, I don't think he's as bad, but he does remind me a lot of Hannity. The thing it's been a long time, but when I used to listen to Hannity often enough to track what he was saying from week to week at least. And I realized, very quickly, it's whatever the Republican Party needs today is what Hannity believes. And he will contradict himself from day to day or week to week or year to year. But whatever the Republicans need, that's what he'll say. And Matt Walsh kind of gives that vibe.
He's not that bad, but this one specifically is that bad.
Yeah. Oh, are you going to show the Venezuela?
I should.
I watched that 3 times. I laughed so hard.
God, that's amazing.
The whole Venezuela thing.
What the fuck is that?
Hold on. Did you guys pay attention to the screen on this one? Did you watch this one?
No.
New Star Wars coming.
Oh, geez.
The Holdo maneuver is 1 in a million.
Also,
you just
like,
see this? Oh,
we-
I got to get to your post, Flip, about the, or you put out the Babylon Bees post of
oh yeah, well,
Democrats sad about the
And, like,
only
also,
riot they never liked.
we I think we need to. I mean, we don't need to, but for the assholes that might ever watch, like, no, we're not happy that lady's dead. It is tragic that
she shouldn't have been there. Just like, well, she had her
But-
brother-in-law say she's
you
got a
know-
bunch of kids. What is she doing there? Her brother-in-law. There's a quote of him saying that.
Yeah, but like I just saw a thing, I just before we came on, there's a post on Facebook was like, if you're like, I can't remember what exactly was it, but basically it was trying to make an analogy between Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck while being at a speaking engagement with this woman and saying like, oh, if you're okay with this woman getting shot and you're not okay with Charlie Kirk getting shot, there's something wrong with you. It's like, holy shit, like as if those are all analogous scenarios.
The more analogous one, and like lefties keep using this, they talk about Ashley Babbitt, and my hot take is that I never like I didn't
Ashley
want
Babbitt kind of should have expected something nasty.
Yeah, I know. I
Anybody
never
running through there shouldn't have been like just going like, this is fine.
righties
We
are
never got an explanation. We never actually got an explanation as to what was the reason behind that shooting. But like I still
Yeah,
like
the
I
dude is
hold out like
trigger
the
happy
benefit of
with
the
it,
doubt.
but-
Like I hold out the benefit of the doubt of like, you know what? It was a dynamic situation. I can understand why a cop might feel threatened.
Well,
It
they were
might be one of
breaking.
those-
Yeah, it wasn't
breaking-
first degree murder. He was trigger happy, and you could even maybe
Yeah.
say this cop was a bit trigger happy. He maybe has reason to be. He got dragged a couple months ago, and you never know in those situations. You might be trained also to do it, and also people say shot from the side. No, the bullet holes through the front. You can see the bullet hole in the front of the thing. But beyond all that, too, I think Dr. Todd Grande put it best. He said, "I don't think the guy's guilty, but it doesn't mean that he might have made the other decision and it was all fine."
Yeah,
but
well, there's like
but this is how it happened, and no, he's not technically guilty, but
there's
maybe
a thing they call in police land lawful but awful.
Yeah.
Like I don't think this is quite all the way to lawful but awful. Like I think if you maximize culpability for the officer, it doesn't even get to that far. But it's one of those like it could have gone another way where nobody died. But like again, we have so much precedent of scenarios like this, and courts have repeatedly ruled that like no, driving a car at an officer while you're trying to evade arrest, that's reasonable expectation of bodily harm. Cops are allowed to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Well, the Ashley Babbitt one, I remember the first time they talked, and I guess that like the right wingers are kind of hypocritical on it because there was like her name was Ashley Babbitt and stuff, and I'm like, well, there was a massive crowd of people this group of people, her group, they were actually breaking a window to get in, and she crawled in and got shot in the fucking face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want you to get shot, but what do you expect? You're breaking in to an area like with the most, like all of the most powerful people in America doing something very important, and you get shot. Like,
yeah, neither of those two scenarios are scenarios I am afraid is going to accidentally somehow happen to me. I'm not going to be breaking into a courthouse anytime soon, and I'm not going to be going and trying to stop some sort of lawful police action.
Well, hopefully law enforcement can get proper training on when a car is speeding toward them from a half a foot away. They can look down at which direction the tires are pointed.
But I think like people talk about, well, that's bootlicky or whatever. I'm like, no, I could imagine a police state that got so over the top that I felt it was my duty to go risk my life against them. And part of that calculation would be, I might be dying here because I think this is complete tyranny or something like that. So we got to try to stand up to it. And that
the left basically having borderline personality disorder wants it both ways. They want the victim status until they're victimized. And then they go, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
The problem with coming
if
up,
I was in that scenario, I would be fully ready that, okay, we are in war here, and me dying is going to be part of it because I'm trying to fight this.
Part of the problem with trying to find, sorry, what?
I was going to say, play the El Presidento.
Do the El Presidento thing.
Oh yeah, but first read your Babylon B right there.
Oh,
but
yeah, but
I don't have it yet. If you wanted to say what you were going to say. But. I'll pull it up.
I mean, the image is. I mean, that is it. Like, it's one of my. It might be my second favorite Babylon Bee headline. Like, to this date, my all-time favorite, though. Like, just perfect satire that perfectly encapsulates the attitude of the modern American left. Is the New York Times in-depth investigation into sexual assault charges against Joe Biden finds that he's a Democrat. That's still my all-time favorite Babylon Bee headline, because like that's just so perfect. But this is close. This is a second.
I'm almost there to it. Before, oh man, it's so kind of funny, and you could maybe guess that it is all tied together with NGOs trying to make something out of it. But I do think that the left had some arguments, some high ground, even though they don't take the high ground, because like they jump on saying Maduro is a pretty cool, okay guy or whatever, some sort of deal like that. Like saying like, no, you don't have to say that, but you do have some ground to say, hey, I don't think that this was constitutional in my opinion, and that sort of stuff. And they've squandered it all away to defend this moron who went and threw herself in front of ICE people or something like that.
They didn't care when Obama drone striked an American citizen overseas without trial, without congressional approval.
Let me just
like I didn't care. Like I was concerned about the constitutionality of it, and I was concerned about the precedent of it, but I'm not gonna lose a lot of sleep because the CIA executed an Al-Qaeda terrorist, even if he was born in Michigan or whatever it was. Also, by the way, like, dude was born in Michigan. What the fuck's going on there? But, you know.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff about so Maduro and maybe his top 2,000 guys at least, they all deserve the chair. Like every single one of them. It's like, I don't feel bad for those guys in any way, shape, or form. But there is weird stuff about all of the justifications that we use to go into Venezuela. It's a little bit like kettle logic, but I was thinking about it. It's not exactly kettle logic, because kettle logic is like all the things contradict each other. This is kind of more all of the things aren't sufficient. Like there's three different things and they're not sufficient to explain the thing. It's like the kettle broke. Yeah, well, your brother who's really rough with kettles was in town the other week, and there's a bird over there that bird doesn't like kettles, and this thing, and it's like none of them say like what happened to the kettle. They're just, maybe they could or something. They're just kind of like weak explanations of what the thing is, a little bit of what the just and they drafted up this thing of saying it was all due to drugs and him having guns and drugs, like he's a cartel leader, like you were just arresting a citizen or something like that. And I don't know that that's, first off, I mean, maybe the Southern District of New York, who can do whatever sort of vile thing, because that's where he's getting the same place that came after Trump, is the same place who drafted the indictment documents against Maduro. But just saying that he was the head of a narco group, and then if you didn't know this, have you heard of the cartel of the soul, of the De los Soles or something like that?
No.
That's the cartel he was supposedly the head of that they drafted for the documents. They removed that cartel entirely when they finally drafted. They entirely eliminated it. And if you want to get into looking about what the heck is going on with that, Mike Benz will talk about it. And it's because that cartel is a CIA invention. It's 100% a CIA invention. They know it's a CIA invention. That's why they removed it from all of the indictment documents. And beyond that, the CIA was part of the major drug running in Venezuela and Colombia in these different areas since the 60s. And that Mike Benz did a really good thing. And Mike Benz is like, I like Trump, but I just got to be honest about the stuff going on here in Venezuela. That place is blob central, and it's been blob central for 50, 60 years. And what were you saying?
Have you ever seen the show Solar Opposites?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not
very another good. Show that was good. I mean, I liked it until
Justin Roiland left.
Yeah, until they fired Justin Roiland for no good reason.
Yeah. So there's this sort of subplot. The last few nights, I slept in the basement and fallen asleep to it, and I like woke up in the middle of the night. So one of the subplots is that the two alien kids are psychopath assholes, and they keep shrink raying people and they shrink them down and they put them in the wall.
It's like
And
an ant farm for
it's
humans.
I've seen that.
They have this whole society that they're trying to build, and they're trying to escape and unshrink themselves. And two of them finally get out, and they alert the authorities. And the authorities go to arrest the aliens. They tackle them to the ground, and they're getting them. And the two humans are like, yes, we're going to free everyone. They're finally going to face justice. And then some dudes in suits walk up and whisper into the cop's ears, and they just let the aliens go. And the cop comes back, and the two people are like, what happened? And like, oh, they've been giving us tech for a while. So yeah, they just get free reign.
That's exactly it. Like, look, I'm not even making this up. Look, it's in the New York Times here. After years of propaganda, the U.S. Justice Department admits that the Cartel de los Soles, which Trump designated as a terrorist organization and accused Maduro of leading, provided the cover as kidnapping by U.S. military, does not exist.
So scanning through the Wikipedia article on it, I don't see that in there. It's the Wikipedia article treats it all like it's super real.
It's
But
go
I
because this just
I mean,
like the Wikipedia article. This is just barely out, like in the last 2 years.
Yeah, no. Well, that's what I'm just saying. Like, if it's, I don't know, just Wikipedia sucks now.
Look at this. DOJ softens Maduro indictment. They removed it. They just removed it from all the indictment charges.
Well, Maduro's going to get off because it sounds like he was a CIA asset.
Yeah. Well, that's why they removed it, is because they said if he gets discovery on his side, he could pull up how the CIA has been involved in stuff all the way back. And this is why Mike Benz says he kind of wishes Trump would just go all the way with this. The fact that they're backing off of it, because it would expose major amounts of stuff going all the way back to Fast and Furious with Obama and all that sorts of stuff. Going all the way back to Clinton, how Clinton got money. And like Nebraska, I guess, where Clinton was one of the major hubs of where drugs were sent in from these different countries for years. And that's how Clinton got a ton of
You mean Arkansas?
money. Yeah, Arkansas. Yeah. And yeah, it's really weird. But if you like watch Mike Benz's 3 different episodes on Venezuela, he also has this whole one about music and how the U.S. went and threw this U.S. aid concert right on the border of Venezuela, and it's the most ridiculous thing you ever heard, because they were trying. There's this thing we tried to do this like a year ago. It was called the Bay of Piglets. If you look it up, we sent in this guy to try to take over and get Maduro, and it just completely failed. And one of the ways that they tried to bust into the whole entire thing was through this U.S. aid concert of Bono and all these different people playing a concert 300 yards from the border of Venezuela. And Maduro knew it was a fake thing to try to get people in, so he put a concert on the other side of the border 300 yards away. And it was all these like just different fake bands. Not fake because most of the pop music is fake stuff. Yeah.
I remember this being in the news, but I didn't hear it called the Bay of Piglets.
That's pretty funny.
All right, play this.
Hola, amigos. Yo soy su nuevo presidente, el señor Donaldo J. Trumpo. Your ex-presidente, el señor Maduro, is no longer your presidente. He kept talking shit, and fucking around, though, and he ultimately found out, though. Anyway, we're going to make the...
Do you think this happened from like an AI script saying do broken Spanish, or do you think they typed in the scripts? Because it's so good.
I hope they typed in the script, because
I hope they wrote this. I think it was written.
Yeah, I don't want AI to be this funny, at least not yet.
Yeah.
Venezuela Grande again. Mucho grande. El bigger, el better than ever before. We're going to drill, baby drill. We're going to have a big, beautiful fiesta. All the tacos you want. Mucho mariachi, sexy mamacitas, and delicious margaritas. And President Trump is going to be el DJ, okay? Muchas gracias, muchachos. And let's make el Venezuela Grande again. Arriba el Venezuela, amigos. Hola, amigos.
Let's make el Venezuela Grande, amigos.
So good. All right, I got to bail before I get sucked in harder.
No, there is one last thing I want you to comment, because I know that you have stuff to say about it. But
yeah, I woke up to this news.
Is that just some concert in there? Or is there actually like places doing music like that? But yeah, I wanted to pull up. I know that you know about the TCG and stuff, and there was a shooting in a church right by where actually Flip and I had a house right there where Flip stayed for a bit, and walking distance from where this shooting was.
Yeah.
And I saw this thing that did you guys look at the video of the funeral?
Yes.
The aftermath with the cops in there, because like the cops kept everybody inside while they investigated outside.
No, but look at this video. Like, it is their Crips.
Oh,
This is inside of the church there. And it's kind of funny because my band will go and play for some kava bars. Like we're kind of in with some of these like Polynesian dudes. And I'm like, these guys are all Mormons. They're all Mormons. And they're all in BYU. They're all in BYU Mormon stuff. And now I'm like starting to second guess that, like, are they really into BYU, or is that just like the color?
That's another mild Forrest Gumpiness for me. Oh, man.
So you know something about the TCG and all that stuff?
Well, so I call it the new federal courthouse. It's more than 15 years old now, but the federal courthouse building downtown, the very, very, very first trial held there ended half an hour into it because the defendant was shot by the bailiff after grabbing a pen to try to stab the witness. And that guy that died is my cousin's brother-in-law.
Oh man.
And he was TCG, not the brother, not my cousin's husband, but the brother-in-law. But no, as soon as I saw that, I was like, in the news, they're like the gang squad was there. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was TCG, because that happened in Rose Park. Rose Park is adjacent to Glendale, and everybody knows that Glendale is TCG home turf. That's what. I don't know. All right, I got to blast off.
That was so weird just to see this all happen.
Yeah, I know that. No, that is weird. Like it's I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like Sopranos in the Catholic Church,
Well, yeah, I watched.
It really is the case with the TCGs. Like they're all associated with the Mormons.
That Latter-day Saints guys, man, they're so just. Dude, bro, Book of Mormon, bro, dude, yeah. But one of the guys on it, I guess, went to Polynesia on his mission and came back and all that stuff. And they were watching this video. I guess one of those gangland videos talks about Mormon Polynesian crypts. There's a gangland documentary about it, and they tried to show it, and it was all cut out of their episode for copyright, so I couldn't really watch it. So now I want to go find the Mormon gangland TCG crypts stuff.
I gotta check that out. Alrighty, but I gotta blast off. Goodbye, everybody. Somebody from the group should hop in and take my place.
Yeah. Put something out there on the thing. Yeah, we kind of jumped to topics because we're going to spend a little bit longer on each one of them, but we were blasting through. Stay with me, January 6th. January 6th is dying.
It's funny to watch all the former boogeymen kind of die. I mean, you're watching. I was mentioning the boogeyman of being called any kind of istophobe died out really loudly. Like people got aggressively sick of that. Yeah. But the boogeyman of climate change, it's really slowly just kind of quietly died out.
Well, I thought it was kind of a little bit bigger in the fact that Bill Gates, the longtime champion of it, just came out and announced basically, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. We're going to kind of take, and that one's so obviously, this is one of the I guess the general subjects that seems to be happening. And Tucker Carlson was talking like this last night, is just the concept of all the old fakeries of fake power, the soft power stuff. Like, we're just doing this to change this nation into a liberalized gay feminist paradise here in Afghanistan. That's why we're here. We want like Trump went in and said, no, it's the oil. It's the oil. We're just taking the oil.
I know.
And Bill Gates, in the same way, the reason I mentioned that, Bill Gates, his announcement was, no, my investments used to be in all that stuff because I thought future was going to be kind of clean energy. But now my investments are in AI, and that's not clean energy. It takes a lot of water and money and nuclear, and that's where my investments are now. So we're done with the climate change thing. Like, it was just 100% just basically announcing that, and all the other tech bros who've been hard on the stuff for years, realizing that they can't maintain that lie and that they've got to go start pushing nuclear all over the place. Facebook is even trying to, Meta and those guys are trying to even make their own nuclear plants out there. I don't know if you've seen that going around.
I haven't. Risto had one more he wanted to show. It was more in line with the Minnesota stuff. I missed it.
Where's that?
It's just in the QuakeU chat. Thanks, Morgan, for...
I have more stuff on that. So there's the stuff with the Jacob Fry, the weirdo.
Country of the Constitution. We have leadership now that has destroyed the Constitution. They don't follow it. They could care less about.
That's Jesse Ventura?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I didn't even recognize him.
We're a country of the Constitution. We have leadership now that has destroyed the Constitution. They don't follow it. They could care less about it. Am I right or wrong? I took an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I view after January 6th, the Republican Party is a domestic enemy to our Constitution.
All right.
I can't get any bolder than that, can I?
Bold, so bold. Domestic enemies to the Constitution. One of the long arguments on all this stuff, and I was almost going to title this thing "Zombie Constitution," because this is the deal: is Trump going to Venezuela justified? Well, one of the ways you justify stuff is through precedent, and all of the precedent is prior presidents who broke the Constitution to do exactly that.
Yeah, I know.
Every single one of them going all the way back to.
Well, I know that, like, you're right. There is a precedent, and you only seem bothered by it when it's the other guy doing it, right? And honestly, the Venezuela thing is a lot less worrisome to me than any of the Middle East shit, because with Venezuela, it feels like the worst thing that could happen is that they go back to what they were because they left the vice president in charge, you know, and they're more westernized and all that shit. But
no, I 100% agree with that. I don't know if people made that argument around Saddam. I was kind of rethinking Iraq and Saddam because people always mention that as such an obvious problem quagmire. But honestly, how much have you heard about Iraq since 2007 or 8? Like, did they kind of stabilize it a little bit, even though it cost a lot of lives or whatever? But the Venezuela, the people who were there who were such bags of shit, and 25 years of being absolute bags of shit, just terrible people. My ex-girlfriend, she had a machine gun held up to her head because her dad ran opposition party, and that's why she was here and came here long before 2020 and all this sorts of other stuff.
Yeah.
And
well, I will say that the word games annoy me, right? Because the lefties are saying like this is an act of war, right? And then the staunch Trump defenders are like, no, this is just a strike. And like they're right, it is just a strike. I don't think we're
the
going to
same lefties who want democracy, and that guy obviously lost his last election.
Yeah. But also, if another country did this to us, we would absolutely call it an act of war.
Well, that's what I've heard Dave Smith mention that and say it too. But think of it a little bit differently, because I don't think that's apples to oranges. Not that I think this whole thing is going to go great. I'm just extreme disliker of that regime that was there for so long. But people say, even though you hated Biden, this is what Dave Smith said, even though you hated Biden, you'd be really mad if the Chinese and the Russians came and booted him out. But wait a minute. Ask that of us if he took over, let no elections come through, and ran everything for 25 years and inflated our money 200,000%. So it cost $2,000 to buy eggs, and
sure,
we were eating our dogs and stuff. Like at some point in 25 years, we might be like, it'd be kind of cool if Russia took this fucker out.
Oh, sure. No, if I were Venezuela, if I were Venezuelan especially living in Venezuela, I'd be stoked about this. And if somebody came to me and was like, but that's not constitutional, I'd be like, I don't fucking care about your constitution. I'm not an American. I want this guy dead, and you guys at least took him to court or whatever. I don't care about the justification. I'm just saying that, like, if some other country came and kidnapped our leader, our government would definitely call it an act of war.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Walsh does have like some point on that though too. Is that
it's like who's stronger?
It's like you're not really you're a joke of a country if you're not even in a position to do that.
Oh yeah, well I remember in it might have been like 2015 or 16. There's a big meme going around, and it was really sad. It was about how the Venezuelan currency was now worth less than World of Warcraft currency.
Man,
like it would cost you more than one Venezuelan whatever to purchase one gold in
the thing is,
World of Warcraft.
And I probably don't even play them, but I have a bunch of clips here of different Venezuelans, and I know Venezuelans enough. This is kind of the problems. Like, you have all these people talking for them, like, you guys have never met a Venezuelan in your life. There's all these like lefties going and marching in New York and all this sorts of stuff, saying, "Oh, put him back! How dare you do this?" And all these Venezuelans going up to him saying, "Fuck you! Like, we hate that guy. We don't even know." And a bunch of them saying, like, the U.S. just wants the oil. And goes, "What do you think China and Iran were there for? But what does it matter? That oil hasn't gotten us one red cent for half of our lives." You know, all this sort of stuff. They just,
oh yeah, you'd be like, "I don't care if he takes our oil."
The guys who were in there had already taken it and were using it and keeping it all for themselves. And Maduro did all this stuff. Like, he'd go on live television when everybody's starving and eating arepa, or he went and got like some $450,000 steak dinner in Iran and filmed it all and this sorts of stuff. And they absolutely killed all their opposition, chased them out of the country. And that sort of stuff. They were absolute bags of shit. And it was funny because, like, you saw Hassan Piker complain that Kamala Harris said, "This guy's an absolute monster, but it's outrageous that we did it." And he's like, "Well, don't call him a monster, dude. You see how that's bad? That's bad marketing." Is exactly how he said it.
Marketing. Well, when the normie Democrat at work was asking me what I thought about it, I made sure to mention that I think a lot of it, sure, the narco terrorism thing is kind of bullshit. Like, they ship us,
it was oil.
Yeah, they ship us some drugs, sure, but it's nothing compared to other people.
It was just the power. I mean, and Trump was a little bit honest about that, which,
sure,
that's what Tucker says. Well, at least if we're going to do this now, we can take away all those bullshit neoliberal pretenses we used for 20, 30 years. We're just doing this to help them become more whatever. But it was oil. It was because one of his main donors, Paul Singer, is going to be taking over Citco. And you could say a lot of the different things that Trump has done has been for some of his main donors recently, even guarding the Epstein stuff, even some of the Israel stuff, even some of the Venezuelan stuff. It's because he has big donors that want that to happen. And I think he was a little bit free of that his first round. And the second round, I think to get in, he did have to make deals with some donor devils. And then beyond that is, you could kind of cite the Monroe Doctrine, not as justification, but just in the sense of, hey, China, Iran, and Russia are over there taking up all that oil, and we've always said that we don't want them messing around in this hemisphere and that sort of stuff. And Iran's looking in major trouble. I think some of that's propaganda, but I think it really is. Like, if you've looked up like their water rights and all that sorts of stuff.
That's what I mentioned to this guy, and I was like, but I think a lot of it is just a big fuck you to China, Iran, and I said it very slowly, Russia.
Yeah, the ones that he's supposed to be bestest buddies with.
The amount of times this guy has told me that Trump is Putin's stooge. I'm like, Putin's stooge? Are you retarded? You know what kind of country Russia is? You know how pathetic a president of the United States would have to be to call Daddy Putin and be like, "What should I do? Tell me what to do."
Well, did you see that? I think I sent a clip of it. There's that newscast that they were a couple years ago all bitching that Trump wasn't going to do anything about Maduro because he loves Putin. And there's so many clips of that stuff going around. Like, Trump will never do anything to Maduro because he's on Putin's side and loves Putin. And are any of them going to back off of that?
Well, so I know the Biden admin, like, right before he was out of the presidency, upped the bounty on Maduro to $25 million. What was he wanted for at the time?
That was all the narco trafficking stuff.
Oh, so it wasn't even Trump that made up the narco?
No, that
stuff?
was Biden that made that up. Yeah. 100% of the indictment and stuff. And that was done in the Southern District of New York, the same place that did all of the lawfare against Trump. The exact same place. And the Southern District of New York is the most corrupt thing in our entire country. Like that's one of the things Robert Barnes is always screaming about. But Robert Barnes was not happy at all about this Venezuelan thing either himself. It's been kind of interesting to see across the board because it's almost, I almost can't guess if people are for it or not. I have not been able to guess beforehand on any random person looking at it. But Mike Benz, who's been very pro-Trump, especially on the speech stuff and how the freedom of information stuff in general, he does not like the Venezuelan thing. It's one of the first areas he's been really critical about it. And it's just kind of going back on all that type of stuff that if they're going to play ball this way, getting that oil and using that thing, there's so much about our long history of CIA corruption in Latin America that this basically announces we're just doubling down on hiding and pretending none of all that ever happened instead of exposing it. It's like the opposite of exposing that longtime blob, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, we're going to keep rolling with that because it's going to pay some money and we can just power play into it. And people got into like one of the precedents that they use is Noriega, and both Robert Barnes and Mike Benz got into how we 100% were the ones who set up Noriega as a drug dealer and then use that as a reason to yoink him out and take over Panama and Panama Canal and that sort of stuff. And yeah, we've been dodgy with Latin America in our time and years around here. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it all is just full empire power politics now or something like that. But I was trying to find the clip of those people just saying that saying that he was Maduro's and Putin's bitch. And then
yeah, I would love to just ask one of them at that point, like, what would you like for him to do about Maduro? There's got to be a clip of that somewhere.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's all so ridiculous because the truth of the matter is Venezuela was just, I mean, people are also lying that it wasn't a hub and a center where drugs kind of funneled through and mixed around. It wasn't like the place that fentanyl was being made. That was a lie. But stuff funnels through there. It might funnel even a little bit more through Ecuador, as Mike Benz says, but it's largely being made and created in Mexico. But the honest truth of it is, man, is yeah, it really is just kind of getting to, hey Russia, hey China, you know, we're just staking out our territories here. This is us, that's you guys are grabbing that. And one of the things Tucker Carlson mentioned, maybe he's kind of right about this, is if we go and do that, what justification do we have to tell Putin that he can't just go say, well, this was always ours too, or something like that? Or China going into Taiwan and saying, well, this is always ours too. And maybe that's just the future. Maybe it all is now just like the mega powers dropping all the bullshit pretenses of the proxy wars, dropping all the pretense. And then people say, well, that's World War III. Like, no, maybe it's more just annexing and grabbing. And that's, well, we got Greenland. Well, we got Taiwan. Well, we got Ukraine. But maybe that all does turn into World War. Who knows?
Maybe.
But I don't think any of it is any different than what was already going to happen anyway. Just we had to swallow bullshit for humanitarian bullshit reasons that were all lies for the past 100 years. You know, it was all just the same. It was all always just this. We just had lies on why it was happening before.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just switch over to the warmth of collectivism.
Yes. That's what you need to. You just got to get the right adjectives, like people who wanted to fuck around. They're like, we want to do non-monogamy. Oh, ethical. Okay, we want to do collectivism. Oh, warm. Zoran beat us to it. We should have said warm individualism.
Here he is. He was taking Trump to task with, how dare you do this? Although he did say that he would arrest Putin if Putin came to New York City.
And Netanyahu.
I mean, yeah. That's what I meant.
Oh.
I don't think he said it about Putin. I think you're right. I'm wrong. Where is it? There it is. The warmth of collectivism. Yeah. I don't know if I have the clip. Did you listen to his clip of announcing that we've got the warmth of collectivism?
Yeah. Yeah,
rugged individualism.
it's pretty much what he said in that tweet. Oh God, gross! I just looked up and saw it.
The warmth of collectivism.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The warmth of collectivism in North Korea, and the frigidity of individualism in South Korea. So then, did you watch the clips of this lady? I think I have her clips somewhere, but
the one of her crying or the one of her talking.
there's
about
no video of her crying. They only have a picture of it.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, most of her stuff is just saying that all white home ownership is rooted in racism.
What luxurious beliefs you have there, lady.
I saw Local Distance talking about it, that word rooted is so used just to declare anything.
That was one of the that was one of the few videos that I did where I talked about like one of the tricks that you have to do if you want to intersectionally tie anything bad to because I've talked about it before. I call them what is it? Credibility crutches, right? Like the L and the G, they already have sort of earned the mass credibility of everyone. Like, look, we just want to do our thing and live with our homosexual partners and get married and stuff. So they have a certain amount of credibility. And so the TQIA plus, they glom themselves on there because they use them as crutches because they have the credibility. They're credibility crutches. And fuck, I was relating this. What were you just talking about?
Rooted in credibility crutches?
Oh, yes. So rooted in, that's just kind of one of the things you do is you take a piece of intersectionality that already has credibility, right? So something like white supremacy, that's a piece of grievance that already has credibility. Something like abolishing private property does not have credibility. So you have to use the crutch that's already provided by white supremacy, and the easiest way to tie those two together, to tie the piece of shit thing from the thing that has credibility, is the word rooted in. And you don't ever have to explain it. Like you never fucking have to explain why, like how these things are tied together. You can try if you want, in case somebody finally asks you. But none of your acolytes will ever ask you, okay, well, how do I tie this to this? You just say property ownership is rooted in white supremacy and misogyny and transphobia and blah, 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 blah. And you've successfully acquired a new crutch.
Yeah. There is something about this, though, because, I mean, you're talking about the decoding there. And I think that was kind of one of the funny things. I think there's a lot of messaging about that in One Battle After the Other, because in that show, Leonardo DiCaprio is kind of like an old school lefty it's kind of left him. He doesn't really do it anymore. Now he just sits around and watches old movies about being a warrior and gets high all day. And they have all this coding that he's supposed to remember all this coding, and he can't remember all the coding. And when the whole thing sparks back off, to get back in, he's supposed to use all the code words and talk to them in a coded way. And then when he can't do the coded way, the other people start saying stuff to him like, you're infiltrating my safe space. This is making me feel, you know, that sort of stuff. And he calls him a retard, like, listen, retard. And this, that, the other. And I think that's a larger message. It's like, I don't get all this coding stuff and playing all these coding games and these like subterfuge things. But I think that was all a metaphor for the coding of the left. And so much of what James Lindsay was useful for those years ago, which was stuff I knew about but almost couldn't like explain to anybody, was just talking about how much of this coded horse shit had just overflowed into academia, overflowed into and it's almost kind of like all that stuff's decoded now. Like everybody sees this stuff in a weird way, the same way Trump, instead of doing like the neocon or neoliberal fakeness about we're going there to bring democracy to the world or something like that. It's, like, it's oil. These guys also are stopping their coding. Like it's just a little bit like, we're taking your houses. We think we don't like whites. We're taking your houses. You know, like it's like almost like the pretenses are dropping everywhere. All the stuff that we had to stop and learn, all the fucking horseshit coding of both sides, really, in a weird way. but I don't know. This Mom Donnie push, and he puts in a lady who's just an idiot trust fund kid. You know, she's got her parents with a bunch of money, so they asked her, and she started crying on the street because they asked her about her mom. If her mom's, 1.4 million craftsman home was white supremacy, and she just started crying on the street. And this is the person he appointed as what's he appointed at? It's something to do with housing. They had a whole town hall about it. I've got the clip of it, but I don't want to listen to it because they're also kind of boring. But she says, yeah, she's put in as the housing person. Mom Donnie said, this is the woman I learned everything I ever needed to know about affordable housing and all that sorts of stuff. And she has all these ideas like, we're going to use the schools and we're going to put all these languages to activate the children in the schools and all that sorts of stuff. And the second she gets asked about the home, she just starts crying.
Oh, I know. I want to make like a meme out of this because I have a tough time thinking of a better illustration of luxury beliefs than the woman who says abolish private property and all of these like absolutely terrible economic policies will help lower class people when they're not going to affect her at all. She comes from money.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't even know what goes through their heads. Like really, I mean, the champagne socialist or what I heard some sort of term today about all the soccer moms going and thinking that they're going to be activists against ICE. It's something like a wine activist or something. It was better than that, but it's so weird. It's strange, man.
Well, they think they're going to be an activist because they seriously like. A lot of people had the same reaction I did to that lady getting shot. It is that, holy fuck, American women have absolutely zero self-preservation skills. Like, they cannot comprehend that anybody would even try to hurt them. And that's, like, even if I think it's unjustified, if an officer pulls a gun out, like, my reaction is going to be like, okay. I think she just legitimately believes she was invincible. And so do the other women, by the way. Like one of the women, the woman who was holding the phone in that first video that came out, she goes up to this guy who, by her account, she thinks is a cold-blooded murderer and starts shrieking, shame, shame in his face. And I'm like, you nutcase. You think he's a murderer. Get out of there.
And it's so beyond that, just in the sense of you got 3 kids at home.
Yeah.
And you think it's the right thing to do.
Well, they always talk like
drive to Minnesota and throw yourself in front of ICE agents to save Somalis.
What's one of the statistics that feminists like to pull up that like female life expectancy doesn't change with marriage, but male life expectancy goes up with marriage. So they're trying to say, see, marriage is better for men than it is for women. I'm like, no, men are just bigger risk takers. We'll do stupid shit all the time. Once we get married, we do less stupid shit. Once we have kids, we do way less stupid shit. Like, I always wanted to go skydiving. I dreamt of that shit. And then I went on a mission and I came home and I was a poor college student. I didn't have any money. And then I was married. And then we had kids. And I remember Morgan at one point, she's like, I want to go skydiving. Do you want to come with me? I was like, I really do. I'm not gonna.
Not,
she's
not
like,
2 of us at the same time.
Yeah. I was just, I can't, I don't know. I can't risk it. She's like, you're going to be fine. Like, you know how often people die from skydiving? I was like, I know it's a tiny, but it was just this tiny thing in the back of my head. I was like, I can't. And then she went skydiving. She was totally fine. And I'm positive I would have been totally fine too. But if that opportunity had come up to me before I was married, I would have taken it 1,000 times over.
Yeah. I've heard maybe a little off subject, but a little bit on too. I heard people with kids can't do mushrooms very well because if you take something that makes you lose all your faculties, it's just unpleasant because you're like, no, I've always got to be ready to be there in any given jump of a second for those kids?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, the first few times I did shrooms, I didn't have kids yet, and the second time I had a bad trip, and it was bad enough that I woke up in a cold sweat, promising God that if He took it away from me, I would have kids. So, I seriously woke up in my friend's bathroom, just going, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." I'm like, it was nuts. But then I don't know. Me and Morgan did them together once, but like we got an Airbnb and had my parents watch the kids, so we didn't.
So you
really
had 100% security to be fine.
Yeah. So I guess I haven't experienced that.
Yeah, that's just what I've heard from people. Like it just makes it unpleasant because they just get up in their heads about what if they need me now? What if they need me now?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I would not. I mean, maybe a microdose or something, but I would not want both me and Morgan to trip on shrooms at the same time while we're watching the kids. There's just no way. I do not trust myself to make a pizza when I'm on shrooms. I'm not going to trust myself to preserve the life of a 5-month-old.
Yeah. This kind of goes in line with what we're saying. This is like,
all right, you guys, I just watched the video of the woman in Minneapolis. Don't go watch it, okay? If you don't think you can handle it. It is the most
because then you'll see that it was justified.
I have seen in a long time. This woman was driving away in her car.
but the question there at the top is just, she says it's making her horrified. Then don't do it. You should have been horrified from the start. Corolla was talking about this whole thing, and he brought up the
tigers.
Image, the tigers and the bird. Yeah, there's this bird.
I love the
started
tigers.
mouthing off at these tigers, and it's like the women are kind of like that. Like, you don't know what you are barking at. You don't even. Yeah, I mean, I don't have that clip right here, but the tigers at first were kind of a little bit shocked at this bird just screeching at it. Then after a second, they go, "Oh wait," and then just rip it up.
Oh fuck! No, I didn't mean it.
And these activists are they're just 100% cannon fodder for that. And the only way they could actually ever be helpful is if they became a meme like this, or something that got passed around as like, look what happened to this poor lady. So you can't really actually help in any sort of powerful way. You can only go get hurt or worse and have that become agitprop. So you're cannon fodder. You're cannon fodder for that.
Yeah, I feel like we're about are we on the precipice of making a Wood Elf Malcolm style argument for like popping your wife every now and then? Because
every once in a while they need to know what it's like to wrestle. They need to know how much stronger you are.
No, I do feel like you'll read those Reddit stories of women who tell their husbands they could beat them up, and the husband's like, no, like you couldn't actually. You're tough, but you couldn't beat me up. And they're like, yeah, you could. And then they tell him to just like, okay, let's wrestle, and we go all out. And he's like, I don't want to. And she badgers and badgers and badgers until he finally does it. And then she wrestles him, and he just immediately and effortlessly pins her, and it fucks up her world.
Yeah.
And like she doesn't even want to be around him anymore because it freaks her out so much. But
what they don't get is that most, as Corolla's point is with that, is most men have that experience too. There's almost no man on this earth who didn't sooner or later realize he could get his ass kicked by another guy. Even if somebody was the top guy at one point or another, at some point he became not the top guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at when I see a woman saying that she could beat up a man. I understand a woman not understanding the difference in like the disparity, as I don't understand a man not getting it, right? Because like a woman is never, I don't know, you play wrestle with your girlfriends or whatever, and you can see how hard she's trying, and you can see how little you're trying to make it, somewhat even. She doesn't understand how much. She doesn't understand how much you're holding back.
Yeah. But one of Haidt's points is that I think even Peterson for a long time, is there's way less rough and tumble play nowadays. And so even young men kind of don't go through. I mean, I absolutely remember the first time and the many times that I got manhandled on a football field, you know what I mean? And at some point your ego gets past it and kind of starts figuring out how to do a little bit better the next time or some sort of deal like that. But the very first time you're like, I just got rocked. And it leaves your brain kind of in a spot of like, I'm not the superhero of the universe. Even if you didn't even think you were, you just really, really know you aren't, like in that moment. And you kind of need to go through that to have any sort of humility in the world. But this guy's standing up. I don't know.
5 de enero de 2026, los trabajadores de la industria PDVSA, aquí estamos, rodilla en tierra con nuestro comandante amigo obrero Nicolás Maduro, manteniendo las operaciones.
I don't
Why
know.
is that the guy they chose? Like, why is he the one that they chose to say this? That guy, like 2 guys to the right of, or to his
in a
left.
country where everybody's starving otherwise.
I know. I'm like, there's 2 guys to the left. The guy, he looks like he's worked with his hands. He's wearing a hard hat and the fucking mechanic's outfit and shit. And have that guy say this, because obesity in America, it might mean you're impoverished.
Yeah.
Obesity in Argentina means you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, Venezuela. Yeah, it absolutely does
Venezuela.
in that place. That type of obesity there says you've been an asshole and terrible person to people for 20 years, 20, 25 years. This is one of the major clips. Maybe just play one of them going around of this gal. And this, I know Venezuelans. I've met many Venezuelans. I've talked to Venezuelans. I've met Venezuelans who don't like Trump. My ex-girlfriend was not a fan of Trump. I guarantee you she wanted to kiss him on that day that he's pot Maduro. She would just love him.
That hasn't lived the terror of socialism will never understand what is going on right now. I don't care if you have a master's degree in whatever. Unless you live it in your own skin, you won't ever understand it. And I think it's terribly disrespectful for anybody to tell Venezuela how we should react to that. I think it's terribly disrespectful to the people that have died, saying that Maduro shouldn't be where he is. And I left my country with just the clothes I was wearing and a little bit of diapers and milk that I had left. Don't you dare telling me that this is not a reason for celebration. When I first come into the United States, I cried and had to turn around to my husband and ask him to please help me to open the shower because I didn't even know how to open the shower. When I walked into Walmart and I saw so many options to eat, I couldn't believe myself. Our reality is different. We want to live. And you guys have everything in this country, more than you could ever imagine. And I just wish that you could love it a little bit more and respect it a little bit more. Because if I had to give my life for America, I would.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
I do feel like if I'm a Venezuelan, even if you tell me, okay, here's the deal. If Trump comes in here and takes Maduro, kidnaps Maduro, and puts him through court and he goes to jail for the rest of his life, but his vice president becomes in charge and nothing changes, would you still be kind of happy about that? I'd be like, yes.
Yeah. I guarantee you every single one of them are like that. And there's weird stuff about they're leaving that same system of power there, but there's a bunch of talk that the second in command, the vice president, even though she came out and condemned it because maybe that she'd have to do, that she's actually through her brother. It was reported in the New York Times has been working with the United States. And part of one of the deals, one of the reasons it was so clean and so easy to go do that in an hour and a half or whatever was because there is a bunch of people turning on him who have turned on him from the inside and were actually our guys. And that's how, he was sold out. And there's people who are going to play ball with us, even though they'll talk a little tough or something like that. And so there's going to be people in that follow-up regime that were already kind of there and set up, which it is a little bit weird that they don't just want to put in the person who was supposedly selected otherwise. But Ben's talked a lot about that it was totally EU type people that were the other ones that they were trying to prop up. And that Guaido guy is just as involved in drugs as anybody. But that's why I said it was like a little bit weird about Saddam Hussein, because I don't know what Saddam's country was like beforehand. And it's really interesting to hear people talk because one of the quagmires, one of the reasons things went to shit in Iraq after we destabilized it was that we then gave a bunch of, we armed ISIS and Al Qaeda to then go attack Syria, like to do a color revolution on Syria. And they turned around and just used it on Iraq. Like we were part of what made that quagmire happen. And it seems to be generally stable right now. But the truth of the matter is I don't know how Iraq was. I don't know if it was in a situation like it can't get any worse. But Venezuela is literally, it can't get any worse. Like your option is either more zero or a little bit better. You know, I don't know if I could believe like it's going to turn magically better, but people say they're going to go get the oil. I guarantee you, if American companies are working with that oil, more of it will actually trickle down to the people of Venezuela than the way Chavez's and Maduro's regime did stuff. But yeah, it is 100% Paul Singer. If you look up Paul Singer, that's the guy who was the major investor in Trump, and he's the major investor in Venezuela, and he's going to be the big winner there. So the question is, maybe if you get into like Italian elite theory, and well, elites are the only ones who ever change stuff, and elites are the only ones who ever make better for their people. Well, maybe just hope that Paul Singer, that's Trump or our Paul Singer is that dude who's heavily invested in the oil. Is he the one with the heart that will give back to the Venezuelan people? an entrepreneur, you know, that's really what the question is. Mitchell says change the Constitution so that last one can run for president. Yeah, that would be awesome. Anyway, all this politics stuff, man. Maybe you get off the politics stuff.
Soundgarden is
put a chicken and make it fake and gay. Soundgarden's reuniting with the girls.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction.
I don't
Sound
know if she's any good. But.
back together for a massive reunion show. For their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, the surviving members are teaming up with Taylor Momsen from the Pretty Reckless.
You know what that is? Taylor Momsen?
I've heard of the Pretty Reckless, but I have never listened to them, so I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, that's that. I watched a little bit of the Hildebrandt.
Rush did it too. They replaced Neil Peart with a girl, and then Linkin Park did it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Honestly, the Linkin Park one.
There's going to be a new Beatles out soon. It's going to be Ringo and John with two chicks.
The Linkin Park one, like, I don't know. Chester Bennington had a very high voice, but it's kind of one of the sort of the biological tragedies is that just men have significantly more range than women when it comes to vocals. Like, I remember being on my mission when, what was that? The acapella movie came out, Pitch Perfect. And Morgan really liked it. And we're dating and she's telling me about it. And I was like, oh, what's the premise? She's like, it's acapella. And I was like, oh, I hate it. And she's like, what? I just don't like acapella. And she's like, well, it's like an all girl acapella thing. I was like, oh, okay.
Like a barbershop quartet type stuff? The movie. No. I remember the movie now. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and I remember her family was watching it one time, and the whole point was like everyone was telling them you can't do an all girl acapella, and they're like, watch us. And in the back of my head, I was like, you can't though. Like acapella always has that bass guy that, by the way, reaches registers that I couldn't, like boom, 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 like
bop, boop doo bop, shoo bop. Where in the world is? You don't even know that, right? Yeah, you're too young.
Well,
for that.
you can find your occasional male soprano. You can find a lot of male altos. You cannot find a female baritone, and you definitely cannot find a female bass. It doesn't exist. And so it's kind of one of those tragedies. So like
maybe with HRT nowadays.
Like, yeah, well, but then he's got that scratchy helium voice going on.
That voice is so weird. There's a term for it, and I can't remember it. We'd have to look up Exelnasic to tell us what it is.
Yeah.
There's a term for that voice. And that voice, when a lot of those detransitioners get it, like their voice is part of what really upset them. Like, I don't like this. I don't like my voice here. But what's the best What's the best female singers? Is there good female singers in rock? I know there's good female singers out there, but in rock and roll,
I like Metric a lot. It's not like she's an insanely talented singer. It's just I like the tone of her voice. I like St. Vincent a lot, but she's also a pretty good guitar player. Honestly, I love Adele's voice. She's not my style, but
there's a lot of women's voices. I just can't think of
gorgeous
the rock.
voice.
Like I like the Fleetwood Mac sound.
Oh yeah,
Stuff.
I don't know. You might like Metric. I don't know, but
I know Metric. Kevin was really into Metric, and he showed them to me, and I do like them. Yeah, I never got crazy into them, but I didn't say this is bad when I listened to them. I can't think of anybody else in rock, but maybe I'm just overlooking somebody.
Well, part of it is just women are in general less into rock, so there's going to be less of them.
Yeah, that's true.
There's going to be a lot more women pop stars and a lot less women rock stars.
Yeah, I dig chick singers. Some of one of my favorite bands right now is the Quebe Sisters. If you look up the Quebe Sisters, they fiddle and sing killer. They're killer.
Huh.
Super talented.
Sharon Carpenter.
Oh yeah.
That is after I saw her nailing a drum solo and singing.
Yeah.
Just oof.
So
it was
good.
you that showed me that. I somehow didn't know that Sharon Carpenter was a drummer until like a year ago. No, I seriously didn't. Like, I was like, oh my God, she's so hot. I mean, she should eat something for goddamn sure. But
have you ever seen there's some gal shredders out there? If you look up Molly Tuttle, Tuttle can play the flat picking guitar like a mofo. And
does she wear a turtleneck?
No, why? Turtle sound because turtle or something?
No, I'm just saying
she wears a wig. She's got alopecia.
It's the women who are the best at guitar are the ones that wear the most clothes, like with almost no exception.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're getting at. No, yeah, she's not.
you get the ones that.
She's not up there in pasties and stuff like that.
Yeah, you get the ones that are showing off their tits and they're like, "Watch me! I learned how to down pick smoke on the water."
She doesn't.
Wow.
So she's pretty right here. She's got a wig. There it is. She's got disease alopecia. Like, is that a disease? What is that called? A genetic disorder or something like that? But she wears like the wig most of the time. But she shreds. She shreds. She is a flat picking shredder. She appears with Billy Strings here and there and some stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
But there's this I forget her name, but there's this. She's a black girl. She plays the bass and she can shred. Oh, I forget her name though. Anyway, I watched most of 90% of the Hildebrandt documentary on Netflix, and
how is it?
Heavily stars, almost as like the main expert, Natasha Helfer. That stuff is so weird to me because just like we brought up like a couple weeks ago, what's that couple that the woman's a therapist now and they're super. We brought them up because they were reviewing Ruby Frankie's husband and said that they'd never ever once come across.
You talking about Jordan and McKay?
Yeah. And it's so funny to see people watch this situation with Ruby Frankie and Jodi Hildebrandt, and all of them have their feminist priors, and it makes them just incapable of giving good commentary on this stuff because you can almost just see that they can't say the concept or the word that there's toxic femininity or something like that. Like there's females who are sexually abusive. There are females who use sex as power,
but
in an abusive way.
But why?
Because the patriarchy, man.
Yeah.
Because the patriarchy. They're just incapable of making any framing that doesn't.
You were really, really close to falling into the patriarchal conception of women as somebody that could have moral agency and therefore take accountability for her actions.
It's so weird listening to them trying to twist it. Most of that crazy coding that we talk about that comes from the left, some of it was to do subterfuge, to be entryist and enter into stuff without telling people what you're doing. But some of it just comes from the crazy scaffolding that comes from trying to make something that doesn't work and didn't work 50 times over work. So you invent all this stuff. It's kind of like making equations that don't work by adding crazy additional math to it to try to make it work. Have you ever seen something like that? That you just add like all this additional language and stuff and all these different ideas to try to make something work. And I'm so tired of seeing people who can't just say basic obvious things in the world, try to fit things into their framework, and just they invent reams and books of theory to try to just dodge saying the obvious thing. Women can be sexual predators. Women can be shitty. One of the things that was in the news just this week is that a woman kissed a young man she was a Relief Society president. It was covered on Mormon newscast. And they're able to condemn it, but I was like, we always got to be really careful about when we're talking about the stuff with the reverse situation with men. And I think Bill Real, I mean, they didn't dodge it. Those guys were pretty on it, but this is some horseshit and stuff like that. But
you got to be careful. What they said, they have to be careful.
Yeah, they say be really careful. What's her name? Rebecca was saying that, and she never even went into detail why. But we all know why. You guys just have to reframe everything into it being a patriarchal problem and not the other way around. And the lady's probably even like a victim of a system, and that's why she got that way.
Well, and all women do this, right? Like I knew this woman on my mission who she'd been excommunicated for doing it with a missionary, and she claimed later that it was rape. And her excuse was like, you don't know how manipulative he was. And she's like a 50-year-old woman, and this is like a 19-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Like, granted, 19-year-old man, it just feels weird to say that about somebody, a teenager, but I'm like, you're
only way the left ever allows that to happen if it was Monica Lewinsky manipulating Bill Clinton. That's the only one that's allowed.
It's just you're an adult. You're a person. I view you as a person. These people don't, and they ironically say that you're equal to me.
But it's so obvious, and like I said before, like they're leaving something huge on the table, that the way the sexual dynamics are set up in the church, that plenty of females and women know how to exploit that and use it for their gain or their benefit or to control men. And it's just left completely on the table because they can only be victims, right? And it's like a whole half of the universe of what they could be looking at or talking about of how people exploit religion is just off the table for them to even talk about or discuss. Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke, and even strangely enough, some of the women and couples who went to go see them because they talked to some of the couples, it 100% just becomes a way of like the women being like, oh, I can use this to completely control the husband 150%. And it's just there on the table, even though some women just kind of do it automatically because they know and figure out that they can manipulate men through sex in that sort of way. Obviously, anybody can figure it out. But this is almost like those women gave them courses on how to do it. And nobody can just stop and say, hey, look, all sorts of women also know how to figure out and exploit people's shame for power and control. And that's their attribute. That just, no, let's dance around it and say it just comes secondarily from the system,
Yeah, it turns out women are capable of manipulation too.
Yeah.
That's wild. I couldn't imagine. I think Blue Meanie was correcting me. I must have said Sharon Carpenter or something.
I think you did.
Yeah, he said Karen Carpenter.
Yeah.
Sharon Carpenter is like a new singer, isn't she? Like is
that a name?
No, I think it actually is. Like there's
Really?
some younger woman going around named, let's see, Sharon Carpenter. Yeah. Oh, British broadcast. Nope, never mind. I'm wrong. I just fucked up the name.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's the Mandela effect or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it sounded like a real name too when you said it. Anyway, if people want to watch that Hildebrandt thing, you're gonna have to.
Oh, Sarah Carpenter, Starbase said.
Is that
so? That's the new singer I was thinking of. I guess is Sarah Carpenter. So I don't know where the fuck Sharon came from. I guess I'm stupid. Thanks for pointing it out, Blue Meanie.
Anyway, if you can stomach a bunch of Helfer being the expert,
I cannot.
Well, then don't watch the new Netflix Hildebrandt thing.
Morgan is going to be crushed. She was excited to see that. And I'm going to
have
her
so much Helfer in it.
Yeah, I'll tell her it's going to have a shit ton of Helfer, and she's like, "Oh fuck."
I was actually surprised to see her and like kind of all dolled up for like a Netflix high production thing. And
she was in the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
She still vocal fries the hell out of it. And,
oh yeah, she still sounds annoying as fuck.
This is something that an abusive person. Yeah. Well, that's that. I don't actually think I saw the Hulu one of that. I don't think it adds a damn thing.
Really?
There's nothing new.
Well, the Hulu one focused more on Ruby Frankie, and then
it did. This was more on Hildebrandt than Frankie, but it didn't even really get into super detail about her.
Did it talk about the gay stuff?
Them getting lesbians. I've got 20 minutes to go, and they haven't yet, but they're kind of hinting it's going that way.
They didn't at all in the Hulu one.
Not in the Hulu one? Did we hear that from elsewhere?
No, we heard it from Jodi Hildebrandt's niece who lived with her for a while.
Wow, I thought that was in the Hulu one. Well,
no, it wasn't.
I've only got 20 minutes of a 2-hour thing left, and they haven't.
It was Jodi Hildebrandt niece on Mormon Stories talked about how, like, she would bring up being gay like a suspicious amount of times, and say that like it's disgusting because it's all lustful and stuff, and then say something like, but obviously, like if I were to do that, it would be like very loving, so there would be an exception. And granted, this girl had like face tattoos and a septum piercing, so grain of salt. But like,
yeah, she's in it though, so I know who you're talking about, and she's in it very little though. But maybe they do get into it because she's there. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. She pops up in this.
I think they was smashing clams. Starbase said my cousin went to Jodi and got major lesbian vibes. Tried to get all the wives to just shit talk their husbands. You don't have to be lesbian to do that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe. What was that? Oh man, I thought I had the.
Like, I'm not gay at all, but I could get a bunch of boomers to shit talk their wives. Right?
That reminded me of that meme that you had about the Trump coming to Venezuela, and then like like, she's not interested.
I love that format.
I should have pulled that one up. But yeah, that was totally true. Yeah, they just get into a little bit more detail about those weird classes they had and those sorts of things, which the interview of Ruby Frankie's husband got far more into that than this thing did. So if you go and listen to his recent interview, which was done by Julie Hanks in the Mormon Stories place, and that guy, he just talked a lot more about the classes that he was forced to go through.
Dude, that guy is he's the most interesting part of that entire Hulu documentary, because like I remember we were watching it and Morgan turned to me and she's like, that guy should be in fucking jail too. And I was like, yeah, maybe, because like your wife is like clinically insane. She absolutely cannot be trusted. You're not clinically insane. You're just a huge pussy. Yeah. You are such a pussy that you voluntarily.
Okay. It's not okay that you're that big of a pussy.
Yeah, well, you voluntarily. I cannot imagine doing this. She didn't get she kicked him out of the house for like 2 years. He couldn't see his kids, and it wasn't a court mandate.
But that's part of one of the things that they say in there is that she had that suggestion for many, many, many different couples, and many different couples did that.
And any man who does, like, I don't care how pussified you are by society. If you let a woman do that to you and it's not like court mandated, get fucked. Like if Morgan went insane and she like the court was like, no, you guys get 50-50 custody, but she told me, no, you should just go away and not see them for 2 years. I'd say, I'm gonna call the police if you don't let me see my kids. Like that's stupid. That's like criminally negligent.
Yeah. Ward Radio and those guys just this week had a whole episode on was it just this week? I had a whole episode on stop saying happy wife, happy life.
That's good. I saw you posted that. I didn't watch it because it's very difficult for me to watch more than like 18 seconds of Ward Radio. But
yeah, I mean, they had a couple interesting things this week, and Cardin's been going hard at the bureaucracy of the church, which I always appreciate still when he kind of does that.
Yeah.
But he drops it in every single episode at some point or another. The time he starts griping about it, which they had a whole episode on Nightmare Companions, which I thought we could have jumped off on that one too, because I know we. But they started blaming Nightmare Companions on the bureaucracy of the church, that they had a No Child Left Behind type concept, and that's how we got all those Nightmare Companions, because they should have been blocking them out.
Yeah, they should have kicked them out of the mission for sure.
They should have kicked out of the mission or vetted them to never even have gone out in the first place, which is probably true. Would you say that every one of your Nightmare Companions were that type though? Because you can also have like a Nightmare Companion who's overly zealous. I mean,
no,
I didn't really have that, but there was like 2 guys on my mission that you heard all this stuff about them being super zonks, like up at 4 a.m, bouncing off the walls.
Yeah,
and there was like, I would go crazy. That dude, I'd go crazy.
I didn't have this companion, but I knew him, and one of my companions told me about him because he was his companion before, and he talks about that guy's just too much. He's way too much. I was like, what do you mean? Like, because I was telling him about my companion that was shitty in the other way, and he's like, dude, mine, we had to make a certain amount of contacts, and it was an absurd number. I don't remember what the number was, but he needed like 2 more, and it was 10:30, and he's like, dude, we gotta go. And the zealous guy is like dancing, trying not to piss his pants. And he's like, you gotta piss. We're right here next to the apartment. Let's just go home for the night. We'll get more contacts tomorrow. He's like, where's your faith, elder? And then he purposely pissed himself to prove his faith.
Oh my gosh, that is wild. I wish I could remember their names, because I'd like to look them up to see if they're going stuff. But there was for sure 2 guys, and it reflected in their baptisms. Like they were baptizing more than everybody else, and they were kind of known as like this dude and this dude. Everybody says they're up at 4 a.m. They insist on being up at 4 a.m. and out the door at 7 a.m.
Okay, but like, how many of their baptisms were 9-year-olds?
Who knows? I didn't get to vet other stuff, but they were both killing it in the numbers for sure.
Sure, but like, how difficult is it to baptize a 9-year-old Mexican kid?
It's just kind of the luck of draw finding them. One of the problems with that with Mexico City was it was burnt over. I had one area where I for sure knocked every possible door 3 times, and it's a little bit hard to explain to people what Mexico City is like. You might get it with Brazil because maybe it's the same way a little bit, but there'd be something that's a door. It's basically kind of like a cement wall that has a door, and you knock on that door and it opens in to a bunch of other little tiny places. So like there's 25 little houses inside of the one big garage door you had to knock on to get in.
Oh yeah.
So part of the problem is not getting in through those big garage doors to get into all the little tiny places, because in Mexico City, I had this area was probably about the size of Salt Lake Community College, distance wise, but there's just a ton of people inside that amount. It was probably more. I probably had more people inside of that area than most people had in any one of their areas, unless you were in like a major city like Sao Paulo or something like that. So I could get around it real fast and knock on each one of the doors real quickly, but just couldn't do it. And so like part of it is like, how's this guy even coming across people? So some of it was like every once in a while you just have like a 9-year-old dumped on your lap because there was, and that would go quick and it'd be good and it'd be easy, but you kind of had to have it fall on your lap. I don't know if that's how it was.
So in Brazil, it was like there wasn't as much of a stigma about Mormons there as there is here. So even like the parents who are Catholic, if their 9-year-old kid wanted to get baptized Mormon, they'd be like, yeah, awesome, cool, whatever. And so like most people would baptize them. Like that was That was one of my baptisms. I came into an area and there was this family that they just loved us. And the parents were like, well, we don't want to get baptized because we were already baptized. And we would try to explain to them that their baptism didn't count. And they'd be like, oh, we think it did. But Naura here hasn't been baptized. And so if she wants to, she can. And they're a very sweet family. I still keep in contact with them. But I noticed that
sort of thing came around a lot. Yeah.
Well, one of the kids that was my baptism, he was a 10-year-old kid who his family was less active, and we reactivated them. And his dad did the priesthood interview and was able to baptize him, but it still counted as one of my baptisms. I was a very low.
Do you know your baptism number?
I can't remember. I wrote them all down in my copy of Pregaro Evangelio. But
I know my exact number because it's a nice round number. But
what is it?
50.
Oh yeah, no, I was like low teens, I think.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Well,
50 for my mission was pretty darn average, but I had a real bad 8-month dry spell, and I had a few months that were monsters. But my mission, the average that was expected was 3. You were expected to get 3 a month, or you were a frito. And I went through rough spells of like having like goose eggs and feeling like an arsehole for it.
Oh yeah, you got a lot more scruples than I do, because I went. I was in Nebraska for the first 6 months. We got one baptism.
Is that 0.5 Starbase or 5? Starbase said he had a comp who died right before he came to the NTC, and he should not have been out there. He wasn't doing well. Yeah, that sounds terrible. Is that 0.5 for your mission or 5? Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know where Starbase went. We had one in Nebraska in my 6 months there, and Southern Brazil is a lower baptizing mission than the rest of Brazil, but it's still like higher than the States. And I just didn't.
His was 0.5. We're at Germany. Oh,
isn't
that high for Germany?
Yeah, that's.
I thought that area was like you're lucky to get 3 in your whole mission. My older brother went to Finland. His entire mission baptized like 3 1 year. His entire mission, not just him, and he did get 1 baptism on his mission. But yeah, Finland was like goose eggs. But I sometimes, when I was in Mexico, I sometimes envied that, because I hated the idea like we got to get 3 dunked. We got to get 3 dunked this month, or everybody's going to look at us like we're some sort of frito or something.
Oh
like
yeah, Starbase says average is 1 per 2 years.
Wow.
And Mitchell says stateside we got low single digits at best.
Wow. Yeah.
Southern Brazil, I would say, if I had to guess, my mission's average was probably like 20 to 30 per mission, and I was significantly below that because I was a bad missionary.
Teaching 3 lessons a week would have been a major win. I don't know how people did missions. Like my mission in some ways was so easy on that front, because there was some weeks I woke up at the start of the week and looked down at my little calendar. I still got those somewhere. I still have all the little ones. Did you have those little weekly things that you folded up and put in your pocket?
We had like a planner.
We had these ones that we all got that we folded and put in our pocket of what. And I'd wake up on some weeks and every single hour was accounted for before the start of the week.
Oh, the exact obedience. That's what we called it.
No. I'm not saying exact obedience. I'm saying we got something this whole week coming up. But there was a few weeks, only a few times in my whole mission where I stopped and looked right at the start of the week and like, we got nothing. And I hated that. I don't know how people lived with that.
I remember, I was in Nebraska, right? And part of that mission was South Dakota. So the last place I was Yankton, South Dakota, before I went to Brazil. I'm in this trio, or threesome, as they like to call it. And like the senior companion, he was so goofy. Like me and the other junior companion would like tally his transitory phrases that he used. And it was usually, and with that right there, like he said that so much, but he would switch them up every now and then. And I remember writing it down. My favorite transitory phrase he ever used between 2 different subject was, in which that was is that. And it was something like, and Joseph Smith saw Jesus, which is to say, in which that was is that Jesus restored his gospel through Joseph, and it was wild. But I remember him.
Was this the guy who was going to be going to a language speaking mission, or is this somebody who was just you were stuck?
No,
with
he was called to
Nebraska,
and he. I remember we go to this guy's house, and I could tell like I never really tried hard on the guys that were just dating a Mormon woman and who were gonna convert just for that. And this dude was clearly doing that, and he was weird, like potential psychopath vibes. And then later we found out that he hit the Mormon woman, so I was right. But anyway, he goes. The rule is you guys had the discussions that you had to memorize, but we had 5 different lessons that had bullet points we had to hit. So you had to teach them the 5 lessons. The first vision, the plan of salvation, the word of wisdom, the law of chastity, and the gospel. Not necessarily in that order. I can't remember the order, but I fucked it up. And that senior companion, he taught all 5 lessons in one visit. Just this crash course of just blowing through all 5 of those things in an hour, just bombarding this guy. And it was hilarious. And he's like, and he invited him to baptism. And the guy's like, yeah. I want to fuck this chick. So yeah. And so we go out and he's like, hey, we got a baptism set. And I'm like, kinda. How much of that you think he's going to retain?
So my mission, the very first day I got there, it was introduced by this AP.
Charles said Jared was in a threesome in Yanktown.
Yeah. I had this AP who later turned out to be like the biggest frito of our home mission. Like there's lore about this guy.
That's the word for lazy?
Frito, yeah.
Stateside it was sack.
Yeah.
And then in Brazil it was fubeca.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it just means like fried, like frito stuff.
Yeah.
And this guy, he later was like caught driving the van all over like the mission to go meet chicks and hook up with them as the AP or something like that. But the very first day I was there, he announced this new program we were doing called Power Knocking. And Power Knocking was we were supposed to invite them to get baptized within 5 minutes after knocking on the door. So we were supposed to blast through the first. Baptism doesn't come till like the end of the second discussion in those old memorized one. So we were supposed to blast through the beats of the first and the second discussion and invite them to get baptized within 5 minutes at the door, power knocking. And I remember when I heard that, I was mortified at the concept. I was like, what? I'm not doing this. I hate doing this. But we tried to do it. I don't think it ever once worked. But
I had one. It was we had an exchange with the elder. I still call him the most annoying person I've ever met. Where we were in the same district for a while, and then later we were in the same zone, and he was my zone leader, and he did an exchange with me, and he's like, I told the president I wanted you to be my zone leader companion, and and I'm sure the mission president knew that I was shit, so he probably just told him no. But and I was like, thank God, because that would be miserable. Anyway, this guy, he's telling me as we're walking, he's like, we have a new challenge that we received as revelation from the Lord for our zone, and it's we want every missionary in the zone to challenge an investigator to baptism on the first visit every time.
Yeah.
And I was still fed up with this guy. That
was a mission plan. That was our mission.
Well, I just told him I'm not going to do that. And he's like, what? So, yeah, I'm just not going to do that. That's dumb. That's like
you're disobeying an order for your priest of authority.
Yeah, well, I'll do it if I think it's right, but every time that's dumb. And he's like, but we received this revelation from God. Do you not trust that? I was like, no, I don't. I don't think you received his revelation from God. he was very off put by it.
Man, but that wasn't your companion. Like, what were your worst companions?
My worst companion was the guy that ate.
I've got 5 bad companions.
My worst companion was the guy that farted himself awake at 11 o'clock every morning, showed off his boner when it popped out of his garments, kept piss jugs in the basement because he didn't want to go upstairs to go piss.
Was this
at night.
a Brazilian
And
or
he was a Brazilian, and he ate airsoft BBs.
Oh, you remember telling me that one?
Yeah.
My first companion was a sweet guy. I think he is gay. I mean, there's stuff about him. He's passed away by now, and I only saw his obituary a couple years ago. Oh, really? He was older. He was older. He was like 22, and I was just 19. So to me, 22 seemed like weird old at that time.
It's very old when you're on your mission.
Yeah, and he was kind of like chubby and soft-spoken and quiet, Mexican dude, and I could hardly understand him, and he could hardly understand me. And we'd just go around to people's houses, and we never taught any discussions. And I didn't know that that's how stuff was supposed to go or not. I later told the president I hadn't taught any discussions yet, and I wasn't telling on him. I didn't know that. He says, "How's it going for you?" I'm like, "No, I just thought there'd be more teaching." Like, really? What's going on? I'm like, well, I just haven't taught any lessons yet. And it was like a month into it. And he's like, what? And he sent me off with an AP for a day to go get a lesson. Like, went and chewed that guy out. I didn't even know I was ratting him out. So maybe I was the bad companion there because I didn't even understand that. I just thought that's how it was. Anyway, he was all super quiet and all super stuff. And whenever P-Day would come around, all of our zones were close around, and a bunch of the guys would get together and go eat tacos and play basketball or play soccer. He would refuse to get together with them. We had to stay away from them, and he wanted to go in his room and put on techno music and dance around in this weird chubby way, alone in that room by himself, with I don't know if some of the Mexican like the stuff that was the cliche stuff, like and he would literally just be in there dancing around to it alone in the room, and I'd have to sit there and watch him do that without us going over. That's the worst thing about him, but that was enough for me. Like, this dude is a weirdo. This is so weird. What is this? And other than that, he's fine.
Yeah. I had my first Brazilian companion, Elder Palangi. I don't know. He was partially all right because we'd play guitar together, and he was better at guitar than me, so he taught me some stuff. But other than that, man, he was annoying. He would I remember he was just like a clingy girlfriend almost. Or one time we get done with lunch, and lunch was 2 hours, but we got done in a half hour or an hour and a half, so we didn't really have time to go home and like take a nap or anything. So I just sat on a park bench and I just laid back, and he wanted to play that, the line box game, like the tic-tac box or whatever. And he's like, "You want to play that game?" I was like, "No." I'm like closing my eyes, and he's like, "Come on." And he sets it up, and I was like, "I'm not going to play it. I'm tired. I'm laying here and I'm going to take a cat nap on this stone bench." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Oh, well, you don't even have to do it. I'll put the line wherever you want." And he's like, "I put the line right here. Do you want your line right here?" And I didn't even look. And I was like, "Yes." And he puts it right there. He's not paying attention to him. He's like, "Okay, do you want your line right here?" "Yes." I just did that for a little bit. And he's like, "Dude, I just scored and you could have beat me." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I don't care." And he looks at me and he goes, "A que marido tú vais ser," which is just some husband you're going to be.
Oh my God.
And I just looked over him, and I looked at him, and in English, I just said, "I'm not your damn husband, and we're not fucking married." And he didn't speak English, but he knew what fuck meant. So he knew I was mad at him.
Oh gosh, I've talked about my worst one before, because we had like a bunch of people who we formed like a group of survivors of this guy. But he was a dude who was just Beavis, who just talked in a Beavis way about Second Nephi all day long. And what was even worse about him was like he'd sleep in till 10 every day and then chew you out for not having your tie on. Type guy.
And my father dwelt in a tent. I am Gaspolio.
And then we'd get home, and then after just talking about Nephi like that all day long, we'd get home and we were sitting there alone. He'd start doing blue darts in the bed. And I'm like, I don't want to joke and laugh. Like, I might find blue darts funny from another guy, but not you. Like, you don't get to do blue darts, dude. And what are you doing? And it was the most awkward thing in the world. But the hardest time I ever had on my mission was, I've talked about it before, but it's forever ago. This dude, he just wanted to go see some girls that he knew from the mission. He had a real tough time getting called down there, because if people don't know, what is now the MTC in Mexico City used to be a high school for Mormon kids. There used to be a live-in high school. It's called the Benemerito. If you've never seen it, it was actually like a really cool place. Maybe I'll look it up here. But most Mormon kids in Mexico City went to high school there. And so when they got called to the Mexico City mission, they were called to their high school. So they were pissed about it. You know what I mean? It was let me show you this. So he didn't want to be there, and he knew girls all over the place. And he wanted to go visit those girls and not work. This is the Benemerito de las Americas. You see it right here. They use it as an MTC now, but that used to be a live-in high school for kids there. And that hill with the B right there, that was my area right up there, just over on the side of the hill, right where the
You were right next to the MTC, huh?
Well, it wasn't the MTC then. It was that high school. They turned it to the MTC like 2007 or 8 or something like that. And the other, like, there's 2 hills right here, up a little bit on side of this hill. That was my area, just right outside there. This dude did not want to be there. He was called to his high school. You know, he knew girls who lived just right up the street and down the street. Like, think of what a nightmare that would be. Like, it's terrible. But he would refuse to go out. So there's not much other story. Is that we were in a teeny tiny place about the size of I'll show like what the size of the freaking thing was, like the size of something like this. It looked like this, and we were just in this little 4-cylinder 8x10 room, and he refused to go out. And I was basically in solitary confinement, just me and him in that room because he refused to go out for 3 months. And that was it.
Ooh.
And that was my worst. That was my worst. He otherwise didn't mind the dude when he wasn't tantruming and throwing like a fit, being like a giant baby. But other than that, solitary confinement, just me and him in a little place like that for 3 months. That was the worst time. Years later, when I was going through a divorce, I thought back to this time and said, that was worse. That was worse than this. It's like the thing I could always call back to in my life of the absolute worst time. And then there's the only other really bad comp. There was one guy who was just kind of arrogant dick. I was only with him for a little bit, and he actually called and apologized to me later. He was kind of greeny, so he's just kind of overly zealous at first. And then after having some real shit missionaries, he called me up and was like, "You were actually good and cool." And then the very last companion I had was some sort of complete liar. He told me that he had done every job in the world. He'd been like a helicopter pilot. Everywhere we went, he's like, I was once a nurse. Oh, I was once a doctor. Oh, I was like crazy. Like his eyes even went weird. He's a Mexican dude. And he said that he did every job in the world, just constantly lying. And I just kind of rolled my eyes and with it. He's my last companion. And I was just like, I was just done, whatever. So then I get home. When I get home, I think I forgot all this stuff. And people started messaging me and telling me stuff, sending me letters from the mission saying this dude was going around and showing people all the stuff that I had gifted him. And he'd stolen a bunch of my stuff. And he stole a bunch of stuff and would brag and go around bragging to everybody that we were such homies that I'd given him all my stuff.
Oh, dude, so. Brazilians would try. So missionaries would try to trade shit all the time, but especially the Brazilian ones. And they would try to give you like the worst deal imaginable. Like I remember I had my pajamas were just these Simpsons pajamas my parents got me when I was 15. And one of my companions wanted to trade me for it. And I was like, do you want to trade pajamas? No, that's weird. And he's like, no, if you give me the pair of Simpsons pajamas and I had another pair, I can't remember, then I will give you these Avengers pajamas. And he's trying to like sell it to me. Like, see, yours only has Homer Simpson on that. And then the other one only has that character on it. But mine has 5 characters. So really you're getting the best deal. And I was like, do you think I'm retarded? Like, I see the cum stains on that pajama. I don't want your crusty cum stained pajama pants. Even if I liked those pajamas better, I wouldn't want them, let alone enough to trade for 2 of them. Every part of this deal is just god awful.
Yeah. I sometimes wonder about the stuff that guy stole from me because I knew I'd gathered a bunch of stuff to take home and to bring back. And I was like, where is all this? I wish I had it all now.
I couldn't fit it in my baggage. I had this like nice ukulele that I got when I thought I wasn't allowed to have a guitar. I got a ukulele and I just tuned it like the 4 low strings on a guitar. And and just played around with
bass
it.
ukulele.
Yeah, it was a bass ukulele, and then and then I eventually got a guitar, so I played the ukulele less. I wish I would have brought it home because it was way nice. The guitar I had there was dog shit. It like the frets extend past the fretboard, so if you slide at all, you slice your fingers open. So, it's just terrible. But I gave it to someone, I can't even remember who.
Starvey
At
said
that point, I was so elated to go home that I don't fucking care. Take it all.
Starvey said he had a German serving close to his home, showed up to church with his girlfriend, arm around her, snuck out to be with the girl, released a month later. This guy, I don't know if he made it through the whole mission or not. I never checked up. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I never stopped and asked him. I'm still kind of bitter about it to this day because it was 3 months of solitary confinement, and he messaged me before and said, "What's up, homie? Don't forget your old homies, your cuates." And I'm like, yeah, you screw off, dude. But most of the rest of the guys I was cool with and friends with, and a couple of guys are still some of my best friends. Mission went to Pacific Northwest, says he had a Kush compared to me. I mean, it depends on what type of Kush, because I swear sometimes the rougher physical times of my mission were the easier mission times. And that's not saying that like, oh, it's so tough or hardcore. It's I could daydream about being in some soft, nice place with nothing to do, and that would have been so slow. No way. Like there are some places where like we were cooking, bouncing around, saying hi to people, having fun, everybody talking to us every single day, but the living situation was balls. But I guarantee my days were going faster than somebody living in some cush place with nobody to talk to or nowhere to go.
I'd have to say, I mean, I served stateside and foreign, and it's not apparent which one was more difficult to me, really, because it's not even the living conditions don't bother me at all. I remember my first apartment in Brazil. It was, for whatever reason, they split up the APs and they put one troubled missionary with one of the APs, and they put me, the brand new junior, with the other AP. And so they gave us this new apartment. So we move into this new apartment. We have to carry these washers and dryers up 5 flights of stairs to get to and they're lighter there, so you could pick one up on your own, but it still was a pain in the ass. So we had not a dryer, just a washer. We had a washer, and we had 2 mattresses that we threw on the floor, and that was it. That's the only thing that was in our apartment then. And we had 0 money left because we spent it all on the bus and shit like that. We had enough money to get bread and meat paste, and it was in the dead of winter, and this humid winter with 0 central heating, 0 insulation. So we're sitting there in like long johns, full clothing, and like wool hats and winter coats, shivering in our living room, eating this stupid cold bread and meat paste. And that didn't bother me. The physical stuff never bothered me. It was kind of a cool experience. I was like, this is funny, because obviously if it's like, this is my life now, then it would suck. But to me, that was more of like you're here for a little bit. You get to experience this for a minute.
Yeah, any shit food, unless I was stuffed and hurting, any shit food, I was like, this will be funny to tell people.
Yeah.
When I get through this.
The mental toll was way worse than the physical toll. The physical shit never bothered me.
For me, the long drawn out boredom was the hardest thing. That's why I said when I looked at a week with nothing on it, it was nightmare fuel for me. But when I looked at a week and like we got scheduled out charlas discussions every single day this week, I'm like, okay, this will be a fast enough week type stuff. And if most of my, like how Flip describes his mission, that would have been so tough for me because he just felt like it's basically sandy, and most people had already been kind of accustomed to Mormons and all that sort of stuff, and just not much to do. And I would have gone bonkers, just from the dragginess of it,
Yeah.
But anyway, it's about that time, and my pup is starting to get nutty and buddy nutty.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to go take him. Hopefully there's more Mormon crap next week. It's too much politics. But we are entering into World War IV now. Is it 4 or 5?
We're on one of those.
They're coming up. So
All right. Well, see you next week.
All right. Thanks for chilling, everybody.
See ya.
Later.